we're back again. It's been a little bit of a break. We're gonna do episode 7, Final Destination, the original. A lot of nostalgia for this one. Myself and Brittany, we're gonna
Definitely.
start a different schedule. We're gonna be releasing our episodes every second Tuesday now. So we're gonna get 2 done a month. We're also going to be shortening the episodes a little bit with less recap, and we're going to have more time to go back and forth.
Yep.
I think it's going to do a lot better for us.
This is the test. This is
yeah.
the test.
This is the test. We're going to see how it sounds and how good it comes together.
Yeah.
As you see, I got new lighting in my room. I just a couple little tweaks here, and I was like, this is perfect. It looks good. There's no glare. But yeah, I guess I just want to say that the original Final Destination is a very, very big favorite of mine. I grew up watching it. There was nothing else like it at the time.
Yep.
The impact it made was pretty big, just because of what
stressful.
Yeah, it's stressful. Yeah, especially the plane, the whole, the premonition, the explosion. It's just, there was nothing else like it. It spawned five films, 4 sequels, but let's not visit all of them. The second one's my favorite, as probably most people's.
And we will eventually visit them because I don't know, the Final Destination franchise is probably one of my favorite franchise.
Yes. The first 3 are awesome. 5 was good, but the first 3 are amazing.
It's the lingering death is obviously the villain in this franchise. Essentially, death is, and it's not like watching someone run around with a machete or an axe. Like, it's just omnious presence, right? That's kind of haunting them. So I don't know. I always got a kick out of that. It definitely triggered anxiety my whole life because this series is the reason why that's gonna be the death of me today, and it's just an irrelevant, misplaced brick on a building or something, right? It always just has you second guessing. Log trucks, but we'll discuss that.
We'll discuss
in Final Destination 2, but anxiety attack triggered. So Final Destination, it's something we grew up with too, because we're 1994 babies. So by the time we actually started watching films and stuff, I feel like Final Destination for the younger audience was more suitable, I guess people thought, for some reason, rather than watching serial killers or maniacs on the loose. I don't know, because I remember being more exposed to Final Destination at a younger age.
What was the
2000? It was filmed in 2000.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah,
and
we were 6 years old.
Maybe a lot of the reason why it appealed to younger audiences too is the casting. Devon Sawa, he was Casper, for God's sakes. When we were young.
Sean William Scott was Stifler.
Exactly. American Pie. Other movies that we probably shouldn't be watching at that age. It's Stifler.
Yeah.
But yeah, just I don't know. It's I don't want to say it's more of a relatable franchise because the more it gets drawn out, the more unrealistic the deaths get. But rewatchability, it's there. Relatability, I could somewhat relate to it. We'll discover why probably mutually as we go on through the franchise. But as mentioned, it was directed in the 2000s by James Wong, which we've already discussed.
James Wong. Yeah, I think he did.
Did he do Freddy vs. Jason? No way.
James Wan. I'm actually gonna bring it up here quickly.
Of course.
I've heard James Wan. I want to say he did Saw, but I don't think he did because Ronnie Yu did Freddy vs. Jason, I think.
I could also be thinking about the other Final Destination films too, right?
No,
okay.
He did. I was right. James Wan did Saw.
Oh.
He did do Saw. I was right. Ronnie Yu is Freddy vs. Jason, I'm pretty sure.
Which is kind of funny because that also, that franchise also features so many miscellaneous deaths, in different ways. He's creative in that sense. He's a very creative writer and director. I'm not sure if he wrote it, but obviously the way he directed each film that we just said was very creative. So yeah, it starts off very ominously. It's very spooky. There's a thunderstorm in the intro. It's just kind of like flashing different objects in someone's bedroom, which
Yeah.
could
That was
be,
that was the thing. Goosebumps did that a lot.
yeah, yes,
Goosebumps
it
did that a
did.
lot. There's a doll
Yep.
on their dresser. Oh, there's
That fucking
a
dog
garbage.
whose
Yeah.
eyes lit up in the fucking intro, forget about it, done. And this show hasn't even started and I'm already freaked out.
Yeah,
Like,
I remember that. Yep.
um, but yeah, so it's just this fan. You're gonna hear me talking about fans a lot for some reason. It like focuses on this one particular model of a fan in Alex's room a lot in this
Yeah.
movie.
And I
um,
wondered, and it never brought
Not
anything back,
really.
like until like the third one, like when
Yeah,
I
there's
don't
a
think
character
it's
in the third one that does. Yes, there is. It's an
I don't
engine, but like,
yeah, I don't think it's related, but you can relate it because in the picture,
yep,
uh, it's an actual fan like the one in Alex's room in the picture, and it shows it in the back of I think his name was Freddie, or Fred, yeah,
Frankie.
Frankie, yeah,
I wish
and
I didn't know this.
it's an actual room fan in the back of
Yep,
the picture, but
in
in
the
his
premonition picture. Yep, you're
yeah, and
right.
in the death, it's a motor, but maybe that's a connection
It's
for
still a
why the
fan
fan,
essentially.
yeah, like
It
yeah,
still has blades, I should say. It still has blades. The what I take out of it, my take on it is that gust of wind that always blows through the
yeah,
room before someone gets killed. Like I feel like
yes,
it's trying to paint the picture of like something you can't see that's there, that
yeah,
presence, like
oh
the
yeah,
wind.
yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I mean? Because
that
the
yeah,
other thing that it focuses on is like pages of magazines flipping and stuff. So I think it's just like echoing non-visible things that could be
yeah.
happening.
Well, that's yeah. It's like like you said, a presence that
Yes,
you
it's
can't
a
see
presence.
it. Yeah, you
I
can't
find
see
the
it.
presence is defined in this movie, not so much the other movies. Maybe second and third they touch on this presence, but I don't remember off the top of my head like the gust of wind. We're not
I kn-
like, you know?
I know they do a lot in this one,
Yes.
a lot, like
And more
a
people
lot. Yeah,
acknowledge it. Like we're gonna
like
discuss it as we
yeah.
go, but people are looking over their shoulders, almost like
Yeah. The
they're
only
acknowledging
yeah,
something.
the only time it happens in the second one I can remember is Evan Lewis when he's in the apartment.
Yes.
The guy that won the lottery and he's making eggs and then all of a sudden he takes his shirt off and then all of a sudden and he turns around and he
The window, you're right.
yes.
You're right.
Yeah. So that's the only time I remember
No, you're right.
there. But no, the first one is almost every death. Like
Yeah.
there's Todd,
Everything except for
there's
Terry, from what I remember when I was writing the recap off the top of my
the
head.
bus.
Terry,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's, you
Yeah.
know.
Comes out of nowhere and she's like, you can just drop fucking dead. Like instantly, boom, just like a 3 second screen depth. You don't even see it coming. Like it was such a pop up, like boom, done.
And
Like
then they
oh
do it again in the fourth movie.
yeah,
Um, but the other thing it focuses on in the intro too is a passport, which says Alex Browning. So obviously we didn't get introduced to our main character, but it clearly it's going to be Alex Browning that we're going to be following.
yeah,
As soon as we are introduced to him, it's established that he's a 17-year-old. He's a student. They're getting ready to go on a trip to Paris for 10 days in the springtime. Um, Within the very little screen time that he has already by this time, it's established that he's a very anxious and superstitious kind of dude. I don't want to say he hears things, like there's not voices in his head, but like he catches like the wind, or like, am I overthinking? I'm
yeah,
an overthinker, so I could
yeah,
relate to him, you
yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I could
Um,
definitely see that from him for sure, for sure.
and
Definitely,
after
well,
he's
definitely.
exchanging dialogue with his parents, whatever, like they're sending their kid off to Paris, so they're having a little bit of family time, joking around. Um, the things that are discussed during this little dialogue moment, like I think the dad says something about like you got to live your life or something along those lines, and Alex just like overthinks it because he's so anxious about going on this plane,
Yeah,
which we're going to
yeah,
come to learn.
yeah, yeah,
um he goes to go to bed that night, and like he kind of wakes up in the middle of the night because I want to say it was that ominous presence again, and he focuses in on the clock, but it's kind of flickering in between 1 and 180. And we all know 180 isn't a time that's displayed on a clock. So
Yeah. I actually never even noticed that.
yeah,
That's cool. Now I'm
yeah,
thinking. Now I'm gonna go back and watch. I'm actually gonna
yeah.
watch it when I get off when
There's
we're done
even
doing this
some
tonight. Like,
more little tiny things that I did pick up on, but like I was writing as I was watching, so I left it
yeah,
out. But guys, watch it again after this podcast, and I tell you, you're
pay
probably gonna
attention
see
to
all
those
these
little
little
details. Yeah. No,
exactly.
that one with the clock there, and
Yeah,
180. It's flickering between
it is.
180. The flight is 180 that they're taking. It's flight 180.
And they
It's
play
like,
it off as in like you wake up in the middle of the night, so like you think you're seeing something, but are
yeah,
you? Like that kind of.
yeah,
So we go straight to the airport and we meet some of the other classmates and the teachers that are going to be our main cast, or at least the notable cast. Todd would be Alex's best friend. He plays the jokester. Clear Rivers, she's, I don't want to say love interest, but essentially she is. She's very independent and self-reserved. She's not
yeah.
your typical like
She's the quiet girl you can tell in
exactly.
class.
I
She's
don't
the
want to say
quiet girl that
nerdy.
sticks to but she's kind of
She's very knowledgeable.
she sticks to herself, and she's that
Exactly.
quiet girl in the
She's reading a
back
book
that
at the airport. Like
not
you'll
talking to anyone.
probably
Yeah,
won't see that too much in this day of age because everyone's all fixated on their cell phones, right?
yeah.
That's another thing about this movie is cell phones weren't necessarily popular in 2000s. I know they were around, but like it was more of a rarity.
Yeah,
So
flip phones that's when that was flip phones, right?
exactly, and all of these events that are going on in this movie, like kids nowadays would probably be like, why didn't they just call their buddies to warn them?
Yeah.
It wasn't that easy back then, like it is now.
Yeah, no, it's funny too. You watching old movies, you're like,
Pick
it's
up
like,
the phone.
yeah, it's like they use that in American Pie when he's like,
Yep.
he's like, "Good evening, sir. My car broke down, and we were wondering if you could use your phone to call AAA." He's like, "You mean none of you have cell phones?" And
Exactly.
He's like, "Oh shit." He's like, "Last time I did this, cell phones didn't exist." Like, it's
Yep.
just kind of funny when they incorporate that in a new movie because it's kind of it's
I know.
funny because it's that's a nice fucking throwback,
And as we mentioned on Scream, that cell phone falling out of Billy Loomis's pocket, like it was like, oh, that's sus. Nowadays, it's like, oh, it's a cell phone in a kid's pocket. Like,
yeah, exactly.
What do you do?
Yeah.
So, yeah, we met Clear Rivers. We meet Carter. I guess bad boy. I guess you could say he's playing the bad boy.
Jock. He's the jock. You can definitely tell he's a football.
Does he wear a Letterman jacket? I think he had a Letterman jacket.
He's a leather jacket, and he's got the Dodge Charger or whatever Challenger. I don't know what he's driving. He's
something
a jock.
sporty.
Yeah, he's a jock. You can tell he's a football guy. Like, yeah.
Yep. We also meet his girlfriend Terry. She's just his girlfriend. Like that's the purpose of the character. You don't really find out too much about her. She's a pretty girl, but she's essentially Carter's girlfriend. Billy, the idiot, I wrote. Like I don't want to call him an idiot, but like he's kind of goofy. He's
he's definitely
not the brightest bulb in the pack,
Yeah.
We meet the two teachers, Larry Minot and Miss Luton. So we meet them as well.
Oh, Larry's the bald guy.
The
with
French
glasses.
one.
Yeah.
He's French. So as Alex is checking, I've never been on an airport in an airport or on a plane, so I don't really know airport terminology. So I'm sorry. Feet on the ground, boots on the ground kind of girl. I'll go in a boat. I'll never be in the air. Probably because of this movie. Like
there's a lot of people that just don't like flying in general. There's
I've never been, and I have no desire.
I love it. I think I just like the fact of it's scary to say being in the air as high as you are. Yeah. It is kind of scary to think about that, but I think because I've done it so much in the last 3 years.
It just comes naturally with you now.
Comes naturally, you got TVs on there, you got food, you got booze. It's mint. Like I just,
my parents actually just got back from Hawaii last week, and that's a 10-hour flight there and a 10-hour flight back.
Wow, that's a big day.
No thanks. They had fun. They enjoy that kind of stuff. Not for me.
Yeah.
They got luxury Crave TV privileges on the plane. So yeah, you could watch probably 2 seasons of Game of Thrones while you're flying to Hawaii. Or in my case, The Sopranos, because that plays on Crave.
No, when I
So
was
yeah,
sorry,
go ahead. No, go ahead.
when I was when I was working in the Yukon, I used to take 4 planes.
Oh my God.
I'd get on two, and then I'd land in Vancouver. Like I'd go from Sudbury to Toronto, Toronto to Vancouver. And the one from Toronto to Vancouver was 5 hours. And then I would get in a hotel. I'd sleep overnight. I'd get up, and then I'd take two more in the morning to the mine. Like it was sometimes it was 5 planes. Like it was,
I would
but
need to be sedated. I would need to be sedated.
the way home was
Um,
awesome because sometimes it would take 24 hours to get home because of the layovers and shit. And I would just drink and eat food and have a good time. And yeah. But, anyways, go back to
I
what
don't
you're
think I'd
doing.
be able to do that.
No,
No, not at all. So Alex is going to, I'm gonna call it check-in at the airport because
that's what it's called. Well, security
beautiful,
check in. Yeah, yeah.
fantastic. And the lady is going through all of his information, and she mentions that Alex's birthday is the same as the departure time, and she says it in a very like kind of like, oh, look at that, like that's pretty cool kind of
Yeah.
way. That is not how Alex perceives it. He's like double thinking it.
Yeah.
So the plane
Overthinking
takes
again.
off at the same time that I was born, and in this case that we're going to come to learn quickly, he was supposed to die at the same time that his
Plane
date of
took off.
birth
Yeah,
like
yeah.
represents, you know what I mean? Um, so he's just overall very tense when they're waiting to board the plane because we're in the little foyer, I'm gonna call it,
Yeah.
with like the little seats and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Alex and Todd, just to define the relationship, we get to see Alex and Todd playing battleships. Moving on.
Yeah.
While they're doing that, John Denver plays, and Alex does acknowledge the fact that John Denver died in a plane crash.
Oh shit.
So
Honestly, these are things that I did not
yeah,
like. This is why we're doing this because
yeah,
you pay attention to shit like that. I've never a lot of that
yep.
stuff I never noticed.
Well, a
Yeah.
lot of people too, like I feel like they come to this movie to watch people die.
Just who can die in the most creative way possible.
And
That's what a Final Destination film is, and that's what a slasher mostly is.
I don't know if our generation can maybe like, I don't want to say relate again, but like rewatch this series as much as they do because we were also like 1,000 Ways to Die. Like that was big on TV
A Thousand Ways to Die. Yeah,
when
I
we
remember that.
so like Final Destination would be on replay on like Much Music or some kind of channel like that, and then A Thousand Ways to Die would be on repeat on Spike. So it was just constantly like creative kills, like if
Yeah,
you were
yeah.
bored, you know.
Yeah, I
Um,
remember. I remember that show. I'm gonna see if I can get that
yeah,
on my Fire Stick. That's so fun to watch.
there's a few
Have a few beer and watch that, and you're
there's a
just
few kills that live rent free in my head from that show.
yeah.
Primarily the one guy that shoots his friend with a cigarette as a bullet, and it goes like right through his.
Oh, I remember. Like yeah, like okay,
The girl who gets a cheap boob job and it's just
yeah,
water and the
yeah.
plane takes up. See, this
Takes
is
off and they
Final
explode. Yeah,
Destination comparable, and they
yeah.
explode because
They
it wasn't
explode. Yeah, yeah,
silicone or whatever, it was water.
yeah. The guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
How are all your guys, all you cable TV kids, how's your mental health? Because this is where ours is.
Yeah, yeah. This is
So
why we're here. This is why we're here. It started with
exactly.
that, and then it just kept going.
We're good people. That's all that matters.
Yeah, sometimes.
So they go to board the plane, and Alex takes his seat, but two classmates ask him to change seats, and they're pretty girls, so of course he's not going to say no, and he's obviously already second guessing life. So just, yeah, sure, whatever. Which
Yeah,
puts him beside Todd, who's kind of annoyed because he obviously planned on wheeling throughout this whole plane to Paris. He wanted to pick up chicks, I guess.
yeah. Well, you can tell because I remember he leaps over the seat and he's like,
Yeah, what the fuck, man? Like
yeah,
that
yeah.
kind of stuff.
Don't, yeah, and he's, yeah.
So Alex goes to get comfy, and he goes to pull the TV on the back of the airplane seat down, and the knob breaks. So he's kind of like, okay. He kind of just brushes it off, but he's been completely uneasy this whole time, so he's not feeling any better.
Yep.
They start to prepare for takeoff, and everyone's celebrating. Like, again, if they had a champagne bottle, it would have got popped.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Alex is visibly shook. He's not having the time of his life. So yeah, I wrote they celebrate liftoff together minus Alex. And
Yep.
within a few seconds, the plane begins to shake and everyone's nervous. It's painted all over their faces, but it cools down very quick. And you can see the airport staff are like, it's all good. Like, it's
Turbulence.
just
Yeah, it's
turbulence,
normal.
you know?
Yeah, it's normal. Yeah.
But as soon as they get comfortable again, it starts to shake violently
Yep.
and everything starts glitching and everything's going off the hinges basically. Like anything that can go wrong technically with this plane is starting to go wrong.
Yeah.
Luggage starts getting thrown everywhere because of how violently it's shaking and the masks start to deploy. Before I go any further, I just want to do a shout out to the 2000s appropriate jokes that were said about the plane. It would take one shitty god to take this plane down or something like that because there was
Yeah.
yes, yes.
No shit.
I was like, this is, you would not be able to get away with this nowadays.
Yeah. Yeah.
When
No,
you
that's yes.
yes,
Oh,
because there's
yeah,
a disabled man on it, and I can't remember which character says it. It might have been Todd. It might have been Todd's brother, who I did forget to mention. Todd has a brother on the plane. His
Yeah.
name is George.
Yeah.
So yeah, there is a joke made about a disabled man, and it's not classy. It's 2024, so like you don't really see much
Yeah.
of those kind of jokes anymore. I just
No,
wanted
no.
to throw that out there. It's obviously a 2000s movie. You
Yeah.
see a lot
Oh,
of those
yeah.
in 2000s
Yeah.
movies.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Those jokes don't age well, but to me it doesn't ruin the reputation of the movie because it was a different place,
Different place, different time.
a different
Yep.
time, you know.
Yep. Everything's pretty sensitive nowadays. You gotta be
100%.
filtered like crazy. It's kind of movies. Movies should be. Sorry, movies should
No,
be.
100%.
Movies should be able to go about what they want. It just makes the
It's
movie a
just
little
a
more.
movie.
Yeah,
Exactly.
but some people, whatever.
I know. So
You got
sparks
some,
do start to ignite. Yeah, it's very unfortunate because a lot of people ruin
snowflakes.
integrities of movies
Yeah.
because of jokes that just because I don't want to say other people would like it because it is in very poor taste to laugh at people, especially when it's disabilities. But
Yeah.
again, it's not to justify it, but back then it was a different time.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was a
No,
different.
exactly. Yep.
Final Destination is still a good flick to me.
No, the first, like I said, that I normally like I just watched the first one about a month ago, I think. But a couple times a year, I'll watch all three of them. I'll watch the first three, 1, 2, and 3 in a row. Like I love the first three. The second one is always going to be my favorite. I went to the theaters. My mom took me to the theaters to see that when I was like 9 years old or 8 years old.
I like the characters in the second one more.
Yeah, the characters, the dialogue between some of them, like the one party guy that does all the drugs and
Rory. I love Rory.
Yeah, the dialogue. Oh, can you get rid of my porno and my paraphernalia? You know,
and she's like, yeah, because I don't have bigger shit to do right now. Like,
when I die, is it gonna hurt? You know, I guess.
So yeah, I just wanted to touch base on that poor taste joke. It shouldn't be there, but it is. It's just something you have to be like, ugh, 2000s and kind of move on with, you know?
Yeah.
So anyway, sparks start to ignite, and a part of the plane literally rips off. I called it the plane wall. Again, I've never set foot in a goddamn airport. Don't judge me. Don't come at me. So obviously, because that wall gets ripped off, people start getting sucked out of the plane. I tried my best to keep up with the scene when I was writing, but everything happens so quickly, and it's made to happen that way so we don't see who dies, obviously.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So because we're not supposed to know anything before Alex does.
Yeah, exactly.
So everything escalates super quick. The plane completely starts to ignite, and Alex's face is melting as he dies. But as it's melting and you're horrified because it's a pretty horrifying scene.
Yeah, it is,
Alex just wakes up and he's sitting in the original seat he was at before those girls asked him to change seats. And I'm pretty sure he comes to with the girl standing in front of him.
Yeah.
And he's right?
Yeah, I think he's and the girls end up asking him the same question, and then
Exactly.
he just jumps
He
in a panic.
jumped.
Yeah, and he runs over to the other seat, and then he turns the TV tray, and then the whole thing
And
comes out.
it
And
plays out in the exact same event.
yeah, yeah.
That's exactly what I wrote. He starts freaking, saying the plane is going down on takeoff, and Carter, the bad boy, he obviously gets annoyed, and there's lots of testosterone flowing. There's a scrap in the middle of the aisle of the plane. So other kids are trying to separate it. Billy being one of them. Todd stays back.
Yeah.
The teachers go to break it off. They all get dragged off the plane by the airplane people.
Yeah.
Todd's brother George looks at Todd and says, "Go make sure Alex is okay." And Clear's kind of just sitting there like, what the fuck's happening? But she gets off that plane.
Yeah.
And we'll come to find out why later.
Yeah. We'll touch. Yeah, I remember that.
Exactly. I just wrote she senses danger. The airline people tell Miss Luton that only one teacher can go back aboard, as these students are no longer allowed to board the plane.
Yeah.
Her and Larry decide to send him because he speaks French more fluently than he does. I want to mention too, this is their French class that's going to Paris. The students watch the plane lift off while Alex sweats and explains to Miss Luton what he saw in his vision. Clear listens while Todd awkwardly jokes. And I wrote, but Carter's a dick. I think Billy yells, "Carter, you dick," like he said like 5 different times in this movie.
Yeah.
Todd and Carter go at it, and it plays out for about a minute. They're still kind of going at it with each other. Billy's watching the plane leave, and he's kind of like, what a bummer. Like, he's feeling sorry for himself. The plane erupts very violently in air. It breaks the window pane in the middle of the airport.
Yeah.
And everyone's rattled.
Yeah.
It interrupts the fight between Billy, Alex, and Carter.
Yeah.
They were at each other's necks, basically, and everyone literally comes to a stop. Some people drop to the ground because the glass broke.
Yeah.
So the plane went down.
Yeah.
So they get sent into a waiting room, and Alex repeats that he didn't cause this. He didn't cause this. The FBI, you can tell everyone's uneasy, obviously.
Everyone's looking at him. He's looking around, and everyone's just hawking him down like,
literally.
Okay.
Like, thank you for getting me off that plane, sir.
Thank you for saving my life. Yeah.
The FBI come in and begin to question them over the events and eye down Alex while explaining. They question him about saying this plane will explode upon takeoff, and he says he saw it, and they're very skeptical and don't really seem to buy it.
Yeah.
It's not only Alex that gets questioned. Everyone has their own little individual questions by the FBI. And the only person who really stands up for Alex is Claire. She says the reason why I got off is because I did believe Alex.
Yep.
Everyone's family shows up except for Clear's. Meanwhile, Todd's dad eyes down Alex in a not friendly manner.
I remember that. Yeah. He hugs him and he kind of looks over and
I forgot to mention this, but we did meet Todd's dad very briefly. I think he was dropping Todd off at the airport, and him and Alex have a friendly exchange. So you end up seeing how the demeanor shifts.
Yeah, exactly. He treats him like he's his second son, and then all of a sudden now he just hawks him down like he did something wrong.
Obviously, a lot of people did die on this plane, whoever didn't get off, essentially. George, Todd's brother, being one of them. So they obviously are mad at Alex for whatever reason they seem fit.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
Alex is at home now, and he's watching a news report in a dark room, in his dark living room, about the crash, and he's crying respectfully. I mean, who wouldn't be? It reports that 39 people died. Pretty sure in this news report they're like fishing bodies out of the ocean, on TV.
Yeah.
They have a funeral for everyone at school. Carter starts to belittle Alex and says things like, "I'm never going to die," and "live life to the fullest," and like those kind of 2000s cliche. I have one of those quotes on my ribs, so I can't really say anything about being cliche. Billy thinks Alex is psychic but Alex dismisses him. Miss Luton wants nothing to do with Alex, and Todd's dad won't let him socialize with Alex. Claire, again, genuinely thanks Alex for saving her. Again, she's really the only one who's appreciating him, or at least not giving him negative attention.
Gives him a flower, I remember.
Yeah, she gives him a rose.
And then,
Billy isn't exactly being malicious towards Alex either. Like, he's not saying, like, fuck you, like all the other characters are.
Yeah.
He's more like, oh my god, man, am I going to pass my driver's license, my driver's test? She said I was going to die at a young age. Is that true? Like, he's more...
Yeah.
He's more curious in a, like, an innocent young kind of way, like a naive way. So Todd does a speech and the screen transition while he's doing a voiceover, and now we're in his bathroom and the spooky shit starts. So windows and doors are opening, things are creaking. It's starting to get very breezy in the room, as mentioned earlier.
Yep.
The toilet is leaking polluted fluid. Water starts leaking more heavily on the floor while Todd shaves, and he does kind of nick himself very quickly. So Scream portrays scenes like Final Destination does, where it's, oh my god, is it going to be that razor blade that gets him? Like, you know what I mean? Like the fake outs.
The fake outs, yep.
So he kind of feels the presence. He actually looks behind his shoulder when it gets a little bit breezy in there.
Yep.
But he disregards it. He starts to pluck nose hairs with these long needle nose tweezers a little bit too close to comfort. And I wrote, yikes. The music is eerie. The radio starts playing John Denver, and I believe it's Rocky Mountain High that's playing.
Okay.
At this point, his floor is almost like completely flooded. I don't know how he doesn't realize that there's water receding on the floor.
I remember one of the fake outs. It's behind him, and then it's leaking towards him, and then he just walks away, and then he walks away from it, and he doesn't get hit that first time.
Like, I don't know. Do people not have like peripheral vision?
You can't tell that there's a bunch of water on the floor.
Literally.
I mean,
Alex is engulfing, I think I meant to write indulging himself with air travel paraphernalia. Literally, he has books everywhere. There's a goddamn model airplane hanging from his freaking ceiling. He gets startled by an owl as it starts getting breezy in his room, and a ripped piece of paper launched by our infamous fan lands on his knee, and it's the letters Todd. It's just a cutout from a newspaper, and it's just Todd.
Yeah. I remember that.
So he's kind of like, oh my god, this is a sign, because obviously he's a little not psychic. We don't really know what he is at this point. Actually, I don't think it's ever really established what kind of phenomenon is going on with our premonition people.
Yeah.
They just go in a trance, and it ends up, unfortunately, it's death's design, which we're about to learn.
Yep.
Todd slips on the water finally. I don't want to say thank God, but like, come on, buddy, it was time.
You know he's gonna die, but it just keeps faking out. It's like, okay, well, what's actually gonna happen? Is it just gonna be a scene where he's not gonna die at all, and it's like,
death
okay,
is just stuck in traffic right now.
There's his death. There it is. Yeah,
it's coming. He's coming. He's at the stop sign down the road. So he ends up knocking down the shower curtain. It's one of those ones that have the wire.
Yeah.
And it just wraps.
And that was amazing how perfect.
Yep. The eyes.
I don't think that would actually, like, the way the shower curtain wrapped around his neck like that, I don't think it would perfectly. Like,
that shower curtain was out for revenge. That did.
Like, and it wraps, and it just whoop. It wraps like 7 times just perfectly. Like,
100%.
But
absolutely,
It's a movie, right?
He's struggling hardcore, and he tries to grab scissors from, like, I think it's the sink, the top of the
sink or something. Yeah.
But he just to say, like, can't grab it. Like, it's literally, so he's basically trying to grab the scissors, obviously, to cut the rope. He can't. He dies. I wrote, the water receding worked until they never used it again. If they would have kept it up where it showed the elements of death trying to haunt someone and then pull back after they die, you don't see that ever again.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
It's only Todd's death that it shows that.
I'm thinking of like future installments even, and like
Yeah. Like
they
everything
Death
is
has
everything.
never covered himself up before, so I don't know.
Yeah, that was interesting. Actually, I'm glad you pointed that out. It's
Hmm.
you're right. It never everything else is plain sight. Like
Exactly.
the
It's
night,
weird.
yeah, like Miss
Again, I'm
Luton's.
probably over digging. Like, I'm sorry if
Yeah,
I just ruined that scene for you, but like, I just find it very weird how the water recedes and like you don't see Death ever covering his tracks
yeah. It's
again.
or would have stayed there essentially to
Yep.
show. But no, it's like, okay, well, you're going to revisit this in a bit, but I'm going to get ahead of you. You know, it's like, okay, well, when he shows up to Todd's place and Todd's dad says,
Hmm.
uh, didn't you see it coming? He was so guilty over his brother's death that he decided to kill himself. And Alex is like, no, he wouldn't kill himself because we were making plans in the
Exactly.
future to, and it's like, if the water would have
Exactly.
stayed there, right, it would have been like, oh shit, okay, there was a leak. He slipped on the leak.
Whereas
That's what
now
happened.
it's
But
painted that he unfortunately took his life in his own hands. That's
like you
what.
said, yeah, like you don't see that though. Death doesn't cover its tracks in any of the other movies.
But you pretty
So
much just hit the nail on the hammer for the next scene. So Todd's dad does end up blaming Alex because Alex runs to Todd's house after
yeah,
that little Todd letter lands on his knee or whatever.
yeah.
So yeah, like he said, look what you did to my son or whatever. And Alex was like, your son, we were making plans. Like he would never do this to himself.
Yeah,
Um, Clear is also at Todd's house, like outside, I should say, and so are the FBI
yeah,
agents that we were introduced to earlier.
yeah.
Um,
Oh, keep. I just wanted to say, one of the detectives' names is
Shrek,
Agent Shrek.
which is going to be the next major blockbuster that pretty well came out.
Yeah, don't ask me how I remember that. It's
Because Shrek is 100%. I love Shrek. I'm a
no,
sucker for
I
Shrek.
just found it hilarious that you know,
I will fight anyone that Shrek 2 is on the top 5 sequel list ever made. Shrek 2 is like, I don't want to say it's under Godfather 2, but it's like maybe a couple tiers down.
yeah.
It's one of the best sequels ever made.
I haven't revisited any of those since
The
I've been older.
soundtrack alone, like,
Yeah.
um,
I haven't revisited any of those movies in a long time. As you know, I watch my horror movies and that's pretty much all I watch nowadays.
I unashamedly cannot say the same.
That's okay.
So Alex goes to Claire's the next day to ask her about why she was at Todd's last night, and she gives her theory about how FBI's don't investigate teen suicides, so why would they be there?
Yeah.
She also mentions that she felt closer to him than anyone that night in the plane, even though she's known him but never known him her whole life.
Yeah.
So why do I feel so close to you now? She tells him that he's still haunted from that night. He's still carrying something from that night. And he asks her what if Todd was just the first one of them.
Yeah, I remember that.
She also shows him this piece of art that is apparently supposed to be him. I'm just gonna let that one sit there and not say anything more about that.
Just a random.
So they want to go to the morgue to confirm. I don't know. They want to go check out Todd. I don't know why they want to go see him, I guess.
Well, I think they wanted because they wanted to investigate the body and see how he died.
Like the markings and stuff.
Yeah, just to actually see. Okay, well, did he actually kill himself, or did something?
Is there any other indications
that something actually killed him? I think that's why, because that's kind of why in the second one, yeah, they do the same thing.
Yeah, you're right.
They always investigate the first body.
I know, never the second ones. Yeah,
they always investigate the first one. That's
yeah.
it. They don't investigate anymore. But continue.
You're not wrong. You're actually not wrong. It is always because we just need that one simple introduction to who do we meet in the morgue?
Tony Todd.
Does he even have a name in this franchise?
No,
like
Death is...
morgue worker. Like Tony Todd says enough.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
So yeah, we meet him, and just like last week's video, he's a very haunting actor in the way that he portrays his lines. He's not really in here too much, but one of the most things that people take out of Final Destination is the fact that Tony Todd's in it. He's in the majority of them. He's actually the only one he's not in whatever shape or form is number 4. Number 3, he's the voice of the ride.
Yeah, I was gonna say the
subway
that.
At the end.
Yes, I was gonna say that he was. Yeah, he's the roller coaster, and he's the train.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
Number 2, we meet him again.
Yeah. It's
just, number 5, he's also there, and it's a prequel, but this man hasn't aged somehow. Like,
yeah.
But yeah, no, he's a prominent person.
It's just there's something about that guy. Like he doesn't need to.
Just the way he looks at them, and
he only says a couple words, but like.
I know who you are. Like,
just him being on the screen, you're like, you get goosebumps just the way he talks like that. Yep. He's such an amazing, like,
and he plays that creepy embalmer role so good. Like, I feel like he's the reason why people stereotype people who work at funeral homes is because of the way that Tony Todd haunts people with his performance in this one.
Oh yeah, guaranteed, probably. Yeah,
like, you know what I mean? It's done very well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. But again, this is probably the longest duration that we see him in this movie. I think we see him a couple more times pop up, but this is his big screen time in this movie.
Yeah, he's in it for a good 10 minutes, I think, this one. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And they're just, going back and forth. He's being creepy. He's creeping the shit out of the kids. The kids are kind of like, what the fuck is really happening now? Like,
yeah.
Can anything normal happen to us? Like,
yeah, exactly.
So Alex and obviously Tony Todd's here to introduce us to Death's design also.
Yeah, and he starts explaining everything about it.
Exactly.
Like, how does this guy know all this shit? Like,
he tells them he knows who they are, and Alex determines Todd Death was an accident. And Tony Todd explains that there are no accidents in Death. He explains that Death has a design. Death has a new design for all of you now. Now you have to figure out how and when it's coming back at you. I wrote, he's just so fucking uncomfortable in a natural, unforced way. It's perfect. He tells Alex he'll see him soon as Alex leaves. Not exactly the things you want to be hearing from someone who works in like a funeral home or more.
Exactly.
Alex and Claire are now hell-bent on trying to figure out how to avoid their deaths. He shows her the little paper of Todd that he ended up getting, and he says it's a message and it meant something, but Claire thinks it's a stretch. You're really overthinking things.
Yeah.
And she kind of starts going off about, well, if I'm drinking a hot coffee, yada yada yada, does that mean coffee is going to kill me or something like that?
Yeah.
He sees a bus reflection in the window. It's very quick, blink, you miss it.
Yeah, I remember that.
He wants to find patterns and cheat it. But Carter rolls up listening to Nine Inch Nails sing about Final Destinations, which is like,
wow.
This is us. Like, what is happening?
What a coincidence, yeah.
I wrote, what a vibe.
Yeah.
He does a burnout when he notices Claire and Alex. Almost kills Billy. It's not Billy's time, we'll come to learn.
On the bike. Carter, you dick.
Like, take a drink every time you hear Carter, you dick in this movie.
Yeah.
Miss Luton pops out of a building. Like, we have a reunion on our hands. And Alex and Carter begin to argue. Terry gets mad and stomps away off the curb and gets absolutely demolished by a bus as she tells Carter to drop dead.
Yeah.
We switch to everyone's dropping seltzer blocks in their water, and Alex hears it was a seal in a pump that malfunctioned the plane.
Oh, in the plane, yeah.
And pulls some, like, mathematician shit to figure out the paths of death in order to figure out where everyone was sitting.
Yeah,
And
he puts
somehow
he
he,
puts the thing on the paper on the screen and he traces everything
yeah,
because it shows, which is wild. Like
channeling his
how,
inner Albert Einstein. I would have never been able to figure that out. Like,
yeah, that was yeah.
he didn't Google it, probably.
This movie was way before its time too.
It kind
How
of
they
was,
did,
though.
how they like it was like, it was 2000s. It was
This
the
is a
2000s
thriller.
vibe, but
When I
yeah,
think thriller, I think Final Destination.
yes. It was
Um,
definitely 2000s vibe, but
yeah,
it was before its time. Just the way
yes.
some things were done in this, like,
And then the remakes of Texas Chainsaws and the Saws came out,
yeah,
and things
yep,
got bloodier. So Final Destination stopped focusing on practical effects and went to CGI, and that's where they lost their touch.
yeah.
I think.
Three
Th-
or
I like
four,
three,
four, four.
four. Oh my
We're not
god!
going to discuss four.
But it's
Five,
3D, right?
yeah, five had some really good deaths, but
Yes,
then again, it was all
it
CGI
was.
again, right?
It
Like
was. I
Finn,
do enjoy Five's deaths, though. I don't know why. Call me
the deaths are cool. Like I like the deaths. The bridge scene is good,
the
but it's like,
laser eye surgery. Get me out of here.
yeah, it's like the gymnastics one.
Oh, fuck. Yeah.
Um, I just like
So yeah,
um
with that being said, did Death go and pick up the nail that caused the gymnastics scene in Final Destination 5? Like the water receded for
yeah,
top,
no,
like you know what I
exactly.
mean?
Or the
That's
ladder
a
in
good
part
example.
two, or
Exactly. Did he
yeah,
go and put the ladder up to make it look like something else
yeah,
impaled the eye?
yeah.
Like,
No, I
um,
think when it comes to horror movies, if you're gonna make a horror movie or a thriller in this case, if you're gonna use you gotta use practical effects.
at least use practical blood to
Yeah,
make it look a little bit
CG
realistic.
blood looks so silly. Like
Yep.
use real blood. Like
Yep.
it just, man, I don't
Yep.
use CG. Don't use CGI in horror movies or thrillers. I personally don't think, yeah, you should use
They
it at
teach you how
all.
to make good fake blood in Scream and Cry Wolf, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure both of those movies that like literally gives you almost instructions on how to make great looking fake blood.
Yeah,
I know, yeah, because I remember in Cry Wolf with that the piercing with the blood, it was corn syrup and dye, just like it was in Scream, if I'm not mistaken.
which one again? Sorry,
Cry Wolf,
Cry
when
Wolf.
they try to with Bon Jovi, John Bon
Oh,
Jovi, I should say.
oh, I'm watching that tonight. I was supposed to watch it. Thanks for bringing that. I love that movie. That's
That's
such a
another
good.
great thriller. That's
That
another
is a
great
really
thriller.
good. That was a 2000s movie too.
Yep.
That was such a good. I love the vibe of it. It's like such, high
It's
school.
more of like a mature high school movie, or I think they're in a college campus maybe in this one,
We
but like,
we were in like grade 8, I think, when that came out. I
yes, we
think it
were.
was like 2006 or something. Or
It
no,
was something like that.
it would have been 2000. Yeah, 2007 or something.
I think it was 2007 because I fondly remember going to watch. I don't know why this is ironically coming up again. We did not plan this, but I went and watched Shrek 3 in the movies, like as a matinee with my parents, and then I went
Yeah,
home and watched Cry Wolf.
yeah, yeah.
Like,
2005. I just searched it up.
um,
2005.
so so we determined some after Alex's mathematician skills that Loomis is next. Luton,
Luton.
not Loomis.
Loomis. Settle down
I
there.
wrote Loomis.
Did you? Of course you
I
would.
did, but I wrote it like Leu, so I wasn't thinking of like
Okay.
Loomis, the
Yeah, yeah,
OG.
yeah, yeah. Hey, you still wrote Loomis.
Yeah, I did.
Regardless,
Skeet Ulrich on my mind. So
go ahead.
I can't believe I haven't said this yet. The only Devon Sawa is always going to be Stan from Eminem's Stan to me.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I can't believe we're 49 minutes into this video and I
And
just
you
acknowledged
just said it, yeah.
that
No,
Devon Sawa, Alex, is Stan.
it's actually hilarious because only some people would actually know that. The guy that was in Final Destination and Idle Hands is
Isn't that Stan?
Stan. Yeah, only some people would notice that.
I
Like,
see his face and he's not Alex. He's not whoever his character was in Idle Hands or Casper. He's Stan.
yeah, he was in Casper too. I didn't know how
Yeah.
he was young though, eh?
Yeah, he was Casper, I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken. Like
Oh, he was Casper.
the kid form before like turns into a ghost and goes on the other
Okay.
side.
Well, again, it's been a long time. I don't revisit those movies.
I don't expect you to watch Casper. You're not really that kind of type. So Miss Luton, she's talking about to someone on the phone about the day. It's about the crash, how sad she is. She's very emotional. She's packing her shit out and she's moving her life out of town because she just can't come back from this. She feels guilty because she sent the other teacher back on the flight, and obviously she lost 30 students. I don't know how many of the students were a part of those 39. There was probably other teachers, the airport staff, like that kind of shit. She lost a lot of people under her watch that day. So as she's on the phone, she sees Alex lurking outside and calls the FBI. They roll up and take Alex, and Miss Luton sees this, and she may or may not ease up a little. It starts to get breezy in the house, which she notices. Again, she acknowledges and looks behind her. Just want to reiterate the fact that the only time this isn't seen is Terry's death, which is like literally out of nowhere. She walks into the street, gets smacked by a bus. But Alex did see the bus reflection, exactly. So Miss Luton pops in a record. Who is it? It's John Denver. She prepares a kettle to make tea, and a weird ass shadow.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up. Weird, and then she looks behind her again. Yeah,
exactly. I don't really get the shadow thing. Like that you don't really see that again. She ignites her gas stove, but it goes out, so she lights a match, relights it. She decides to put ice in a mug and have vodka instead, but the mug cracks as soon as the warm vodka hits the ice. I don't know how hot this vodka was in the bottle, but
no, I think it was
already cracked and it just emphasized or something.
No, because there's one part where I remember this part. There's one part where she's making a coffee, and then there's something in the cup, and she grabs the cup and she goes, "Oh!" And then she tells herself, she's like, "Oh, calm down, calm down."
Okay. So I was probably too busy typing at that time.
Maybe the heat from the coffee, and then
Makes sense.
poured freezing cold vodka, right?
That makes sense. How many times have you put something in the microwave and the dish breaks? I don't know if that's just a me problem or if that's a you problem too.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Me with Pogos, anytime. Roll the dice. If I'm putting Pogos in the microwave, that plate's breaking. So the mug cracks and it starts dripping vodka. I wrote 90 proof vodka on the floor. Leaves a trail to where she's going. She ends up leaking it all over her computer.
Yeah.
The 90 proof vodka causes the computer to catch fire, which explodes and lodges a piece into her neck.
Yeah.
So now the 90 proof vodka is following the drip path. So her house is like basically the vodka was actually gasoline, and she accidentally doused gasoline in a line, apparently.
Yeah.
Again, it's still rewatchable. Like, I'm cracking a joke right now, but like, it's still a rewatchable movie, you know?
Yeah, you look back and it's like, okay, like, silly. Like, yeah, are you kidding me? But it's...
That would happen to me, though. Yeah. Just putting it out there. So, obviously, the fire is igniting further as it follows the path. Her gas stove explodes. It's a huge eruption. She's on the ground, bleeding because she had something impaled into her neck.
Yep.
So Alex goes back to her. Oh, sorry. Before that happens, she sees a towel, and I guess she wants to obviously stop the bleeding, put pressure on it. So she goes to pull down the dish rag, and the dish rag is ironically and perfectly placed on a knife block full of knives, and she pulls down the knives along with the towel, which... Like, the typical...
I think in that scene, too, it shows her
throwing...
she throws it on.
I'm pretty sure you're right.
Yeah.
And Final Destination does an amazing job of showing all these. I don't want to call it foreshadowing, but it is foreshadowing.
Yeah, it is,
So Alex goes back to her after being released from the FBI agents who were questioning him but don't really get anywhere.
Yeah.
She's drenched in blood. and he's trying to help her, but another explosion happens, and the table ends up moving because of the explosion, which pushes the chair, which pushes the knife into her, killing her.
Yep.
Alex leaves bloody footprints, which I don't really know why this is there because the house explodes.
I was gonna say, I'm glad you brought that up because I was just about to say it if you didn't. I don't know why they did that. It just, you know.
So we were both thinking of that.
Yeah, it zooms in. He picks up the knife, and then he goes like this, and he looks around, and then he realizes he has the knife in his hand.
Yep.
So then he drops it or throws it, whatever.
And I feel like this is a good reaction, like it's an appropriate reaction because look what he's just been through, and now it's like, oh my god, like
and
they already think it's me.
He runs away, and then the camera slowly just zooms to the floor and shows his footprints.
Yeah,
I think it was just like a camera shot to trick, you know, just to make the scene more intense.
Maybe, but like for what, 2 seconds?
Yeah.
So as Sean just mentioned, he's running out of the house. It ends up exploding majorly. And Billy is just casually biking by.
I was gonna, yeah.
And Alex is running with the house collapsing behind him. Billy just says, dude.
Yeah.
Chip, 2000s, 100%,
yeah.
Dude.
Yeah.
Is he in Dude, Where's My Car?
Yes, he is.
Fantastic. The FBI go to Clear's house to see if Todd's there, but she doesn't know where he is.
You mean Alex?
Sorry, Alex.
All good.
He compliments her weird ass work. Like he said something like, "That's a creative sculpture" or something like that.
Does he? Yeah. Okay. I missed that too.
Well, the cops say one of them's a little bit more softer than the other. I think Shrek is the hard ass, and the other one's like a little more goofier. I remember when he was interviewing Alex at one point, he's like, that kid gives me the creeps, and the other FBI agent was like, why?
Yeah.
And he's like, he almost had me believing him, and then the other one was like, sometimes you give me the creeps. Exactly.
Yeah.
The dialogue, right? Like it's kind of, the dialogue is more on the funny tone, and unless it's in the serious theme.
Yeah. But for the
serious theme, sorry. Yeah. Exactly. So Billy yells, "Carter, you dick," as Carter cuts him off. And Carter starts to carve Terry's name into the memorial wall. I guess we're at the school all of a sudden. Turns out Clear asked them to meet her there so they could take her to Alex because the FBI is watching her and he knows who's next to die.
Yeah.
They find Alex and he won't tell them who's next. He just doesn't think it's a good idea. Carter is pissed, but Alex doesn't think it matters because they're all in the same list anyways. Do you think it's because Alex knows if they find out if the other person skips death and moves on to the next one, so it's just going to be like a pissing match? Like people are going to try to like get the other person killed so it skips someone? Like Carter gets reckless and floors the gas pedal. They're all in the car together, might I add.
Yeah.
He's fishtailing. He's dodging traffic. Alex realizes his seatbelt's broken. Alex sees a train flash in the reflection of the window.
Yep.
Again, these little scenes with the bus flash, the train flash, it's blink and you miss it.
Yep.
If you don't know what we're talking about, go back and look. It's there.
Yep.
They come to a railway, ironically, and Carter stops the car. The arms go down. You start to hear the train horns. The lights are flashing. Billy and Clear are saying, like, let's go. We need to go. We're going to die. So they're the first to flee the car. Alex won't leave without Carter. As soon as he reasons with Carter, the car won't turn over. But within the last possible second, Alex yanks him out. But Billy gets half his head sliced off, flying sheet metal from the car.
Randomly, okay, never mind. I guess it wouldn't be. Sorry, I forgot.
He's having a fit. That's what I was about to say. Billy. Let me reread that.
Okay, go ahead.
But Billy gets half his head sliced off by flying sheet metal from the car. I wrote, I guess, well, Billy tells Carter, you're dead. You're not taking me with you. And
Yeah,
it just clean cuts
ironically.
him. It doesn't decapitate him. It like cuts him like underneath the nose, I want to say. Like I feel
It
like
cuts
there's
him right
chin
here.
there.
It
Okay,
cuts
so
him
the
right here.
jaw.
Yeah, it cuts him right here, and only his bottom
But you were
pieces.
right. It is pretty random.
Yeah.
We know any of them are going to die at any second, but we're so busy with the stressful Carter car situation that we
Yeah.
didn't really think that Billy was going to get decapitated, and neither did any of the other people, obviously.
Well, you know what? I think it's because so it is random, but at the same time, I don't think Billy was supposed to die then. I think because Carter was trying to kill himself,
Yes.
and then Alex saved him, and it kind of fucking screwed up the plan. And then
I think Alex
jump.
was supposed to die because of the seatbelt. I think that's what that seatbelt was, because he's the one with the broken seatbelt.
Oh, he was the one with the broken seatbelt. Yeah, okay.
So I thought in that moment, like, is Alex next on the list? And I tried to think about the premonition scene, and like I said, you don't really see anyone die. This one, it all boils down to seat placement.
Yeah.
And the fact that Alex switched seats with those girls fucked with Death's plan, because that's highlighted in this explanation of things.
Yep.
Obviously, as we're discussing the second one, you'll find out that's a different design. The third one's a different design. The fifth one's also a different design.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
So next thing you know, Alex is PPEing the fuck out of himself, drawing the line just a little bit. He dodges a rusty hook and is very proud that he did not have a chance to contract tetanus.
Yeah. Where was this? His garage?
I think so. It's either his garage or his basement.
I remember, yeah.
Wherever it is, he's gone off the rails.
Yep.
So we see Clear in a thunderstorm, watching the agents watch her. Alex starts sensing she's in danger and goes to her. Meanwhile, Clear senses danger also and hears her dog barking in a storm. Yeah, as soon as my dog is in danger, I'm doing something reckless. I got you, Clear. I'm not going to judge your stupid decisions and going outside. I get it.
Yep.
She ends up getting trapped inside her car with electrical cables flying all over the place, which starts a fire, but Alex saves her by grabbing the cable and letting her out of the car before it explodes and somehow doesn't kill him.
Yeah.
Okay, glad we're on the same page here.
Yeah, I know. That would have killed him, I know. It shows
Definitely.
You're worried. You're like, fuck, did he die? But, and then you find, you're like, oh, he's dead. He's definitely dead. And then all of a sudden he's not dead. And it's like,
all of a sudden, he's not dead. We're in Paris. It's 6 months later.
Yeah.
How the fuck did you get there on an airplane? I would never be going on an airplane ever again if I experienced what they went through. Even if I didn't.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm never going on an airplane because of this goddamn movie.
No, never again. Yeah, and they mentioned too, they're like, I can't believe we got on a plane again.
Like
6 months, okay, that's maybe a couple of years, maybe.
Take a fucking boat. Like,
yeah.
So they're discussing what they've been through. Alex starts getting those little spidey senses tingling again, and you can visibly see it. He does play this like something's happening. There's unseen danger. Like, he plays this anxious character so well.
Yeah, he does.
So within a little time, a bus runs into a sign which falls down, but our bad boy turned good boy decides to save Alex by pushing him out of the way and takes the hit himself. Carter gets crushed by a falling sign. Is it not Cafe like 801 or like
the
it's
sign?
18? Yeah, isn't it like a spin on 180 or something?
That's
I'm pretty sure it is.
I'm gonna have to go back and check that out. I'm probably gonna watch that tonight. Actually, I'm gonna watch the first Final Destination, and I'm gonna watch Cry Wolf.
I'm gonna watch Sopranos.
Fuck yeah, I just finished it for like the 8th time in a row.
I'm a first watcher, guys. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, it's
worth it. It lives up to the hype so far. And
it does, yeah, awesome. I'm glad you're enjoying it.
like I talk about, like there's a lot. I have a very big list of movies about things that like I wish I could see for the first time. Series. Oh, I just want to before I go on with this, roll credits. We're done.
Yeah.
But there's a pretty big list of movies and television series where I watched at a young age, and I wish I was more mature while watching these things
To
for the first
realize.
time, so I could
Yeah.
see things differently.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why I enjoy watching series too, because I'm like, oh my God, I don't remember that.
Yeah.
Um, and just watching it at a different age, because obviously, like, you're a different person even after a year sometimes. So just
Yeah. Yeah.
when you're in
No.
like a
No.
different headspace and you're watching something, it's like, oh my God, I could relate to this person this time around. I fucking hated you when I watched you 3 times ago, but now I finally
Now I
sympathize with you.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes. Yes.
I'm happy that I'm watching Sopranos now because I'm old enough to see all these little things. I'm
Yeah.
old enough to appreciate the relationships that like the kids have with the parents.
Yes. Yes.
I have more appreciation.
Unfortunately for me, I'm upset that I never got to watch it on TV. But at the time,
Yes.
so like put it this way: me watching it on TV at the age I am right now, I would have,
Yep.
like you said, I would have loved to rewatch it at the age I am right now,
Yep.
so I can get all the things that are going on. But
You absorb it differently.
But to watch it when I was, it started in '99. I would have been 5 years old.
Yep.
Even when it finished, I was 11 or 12.
Yep.
So like, I wanted to be able to enjoy that time where like, okay, it's the final season.
Yes.
All the
This is
tension
it.
all the tension building, like when Breaking Bad, you haven't watched it yet.
But again, maybe when I do watch it 15 years later after, or that probably hasn't even been on for 15 years,
like 10 years or so.
10 years later, I tried watching it when it first came out, but like we said, typically back then with AMC, it was either Walking Dead versus Breaking Bad. For some reason, they pitted us against each other.
Yeah.
I was a Walking Dead girl, and
Yep.
I did get the opportunity to be in my 20s and watching something every Sunday at 9, having something to look forward to,
Yeah.
having something to complain about for a week. Oh my God, I can't fucking wait to see what happens because they ended it on a cliffhanger.
Exactly.
Or even when they take the break for 6 months and it's like, oh my God, what the fuck am I gonna do?
See, that's what I miss. Like I said, I watched this when I watched it when it was on TV a little bit, but not much. It had already finished.
Yep.
And they were just playing reruns of it, but like you said, the tension. Like if I could go back and watch it, like obviously I can't go back and watch it the age I am now. 25 years ago, because I was 4 years old or 5
It'll
years
never be
old.
your first time because you're already exposed to it, but you're probably going to see it differently.
Yeah. Like even now, every time I watch it, honestly, I just watched it again. Like I said, I just watched it again for like the 8th time in a row. Every single time I watch it, I notice new things every single time, because I just enjoy watching it, and I'm like, oh wait, I didn't ever notice that.
Yeah.
And it just fucking.
I remember the first time I watched Sons of Anarchy, I was not a fan of Tara. I couldn't I didn't like her.
Yeah.
I found she stood out, but I've watched that one like probably 6 different times. It only took my second rewatch for me to realize what Tara stood for in that franchise. In that series, she was supposed to be the innocent. She was supposed to be the good side. She wasn't supposed to be haywire. She wasn't supposed to be a partier. She was supposed to be that security, that angel on Jax's shoulder, whereas Gemma is anarchy.
Yeah, she's the badass. Yeah.
And I was almost mad at myself for like, oh my God, I didn't realize that. But I was so fixated on everything that was going on with good old Jax Teller and like, oh my God, the way it ended and like,
yeah.
But I rewatched it and it is a modern day Hamlet. Like it's Shakespeare. Kurt Sutter did a fantastic job. And that's a series I could watch on my 8th time and be like, oh my God, I don't remember this. Or, oh my God, this is a different interpretation that I had from the last time.
Well, that's like what I was saying with The Sopranos.
Exactly.
The same thing. Like I don't remember this, or as if I noticed that. I didn't notice that before. Like different things every time you watch it, you notice more and more things about it. or you
Yep.
like this character more than you did before.
And all of a sudden, the character that you loved this whole time, you're like, ooh,
Yeah,
like, But again, like, it's not to discriminate actors or anything. Everyone, sometimes it's a fantastic actor in a shitty role.
yeah, that's true too. Like, yeah,
I
some
find
actors just get casted as the shitty
exactly.
character, but they're a good actor, but
Yep.
it's a shitty character they're playing.
Yep. Or it's a shitty actor playing a good character, and you go to watch something else, like, oh my god, he was really good in this movie, and you go watch him in this movie, and you're like,
Yep.
oh.
No, for sure.
But back to Final Destination, I
Yes.
feel like this would be one of the 2000s movie, shitty jokes aside, that held up to its reputation. It must be. It ended up spawning four different.
Definitely. There's actually, there's also another spin-off movie. I can't remember what it is. Me and the wife watched it a while ago.
1,000 Ways to Die.
No, yeah. No.
And they're making a sixth one, actually. Apparently, there's a sixth one in development. I've been reading this for like 3 years, though.
Ship. It's a cruise ship, a giant ship.
Yeah, and it's going to be focused on like emergency personnel or something.
I'm actually interested. I'm actually really interested. I hope
Me
they
too.
do a good job in this one. And the number 6, like they said, if people are a fan of this franchise, I love the first 3, especially the first 2. The first 2 are the best. We're gonna visit
3, but it's nostalgic to me because I watched it before we went to Canada's Wonderland.
Oh yeah, that's definitely
that packed a punch. That left a mark.
Left a mark, definitely.
But
I do like the third one. Don't get me wrong. I like the third one. I just find the acting is
they start getting silly.
Yeah,
they start getting silly.
The dialogue and the actors aren't as good of actors as they had in the first 2. The first 2, they were better actors. They were well gifted actors for the most part. The third one,
Ali Larter, who is Clear Rivers, she's a reputable actress.
Yeah, in the first 2, exactly.
In the first 2, actually, you're right. Tony Todd.
In the second one, and Tony Todd, and then the third one, Tony Todd's not in it, only his voices, but you get
and it's Wendy from Black Christmas. I know her name is Wendy. I can't remember what her full name is.
Yeah, Wendy.
Is it Wendy
Black
in
Christmas.
The movie?
Good. I actually just watched that.
What's the actress's name?
I actually just watched that, obviously during Christmas, Black Christmas, and I was like, hey, she's in that.
She's in actually a few like thriller horror movies, if I'm not mistaken. Mary Elizabeth Winstead, and she does play Wendy in Final Destination 3.
Yeah. No, I just found like a lot of the actors, like you said, I don't know, the acting was sloppy.
Yeah.
In the third one, the kills were awesome though. I loved a lot. The only one that I did like was what was his name? The guy that plays Chris Lempsch, I think his name is. He plays the emo guy. He's like,
and he gets crushed by
he's like, how is it that my last name
Jackless, I guess.
How is it that my last name is the same name as my school?
Yeah, because you're a loser.
Yeah, I like him. He's in Ginger Snaps, actually. He's also
that seems fitting. I didn't realize that he was in that, but that seems totally fitting.
He's in Ginger Snaps. He plays.
And as far as these characters go with horror movies, Idle Hands, like you mentioned with Devon Sawa.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like a lot of the cast in the first, like they do have a few cast members that are in other movies, but I just found the acting a little sloppier in the third one.
Mm-hmm.
Like the 2 preppy chicks, you know what I mean? Like they're just dincy, dumb. Right?
I feel like one of them's names might be Brittany. I could be wrong.
I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you actually, but
I'm looking right now to see if Ali Larter was. Ali Larter has credits on Resident Evil.
Oh, she's got Resident Evil. She's got Jay and Silent Bob. She's got a good pretty decent.
Oh yeah, she's also on the House on the Haunted Hill remake. I forgot about that. Yeah, that's right. I just
watched Varsity Blues, another good one that I watched. That's an old school football movie from the the 90s. That's a good movie.
I know she's in Legally Blonde, but we don't talk about those kinds of movies here, so we'll just stop there.
No, she's got a pretty good resume. That one. She's done quite a bit of movies. I follow her on Instagram.
What about Tony Todd? Enough said. I don't think we need to go back into that. What
Nope.
about Sean William Scott? Does he have any other
Stifler.
credits on
American
Dude, Where's My...
Pie.
He's more of
Goon.
the goofy actor. Dude, Where's My Car?
Yeah.
Role Models. I remember
Yeah.
that one. That came out when
Yep.
we were in high school. Dukes of Hazzards.
Yep.
With him and Johnny Knoxville.
Yep, I remember that one. Goon, the hockey movie.
Road Trip. He's old school. I do remember his cameo in that one.
But he's the same character.
Kind of character,
in
yes.
every movie. He's not a good actor. I don't think he's a good actor.
He relies on his humor.
Yes, he's very funny. But he plays, like you said, he plays Stifler in every.
Yep.
He pretty much plays Stifler in every movie. He's that goofy,
takes nothing seriously, like that kind of dude.
Yeah, exactly.
I know the actor who plays Carter, Kerr Smith. He's totally in Riverdale. He plays a teacher in Riverdale, if I'm not mistaken, which is like the Archie remake on Netflix.
Okay.
Let's see what else he's in. He's from Dawson's Creek. He's on My Bloody Valentine. He's
yeah. The remake? The remake.
Yeah, he would be,
the sheriff.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, he does play on Riverdale. He's the principal of Jughead School, if anyone needs to know that. He plays on an episode of Criminal Minds. I actually do remember that one. I was really big on Criminal Minds too. Again, cable TV kid.
So as you're covering this, so you do see that the first one has a very, very gifted cast for the most part.
Very much so.
Most of them. The girl, his girlfriend, she's also in a lot of. She plays in Valentine, the horror movie, the slasher. She plays in Road Trip as well.
Yes, she does.
She also plays in maybe not. That might be she. There's another girl. I think there's two girls that actually look like. I think I'm wrong. I think there's another girl that looks like her, has the blonde curly hair. I don't think it's the same girl, actually, because I'm thinking of the same girl. Yeah, I don't think it's the same girl. I think there's another.
Google is giving her credits on Final Destination 3. I don't know if that's like an Easter egg cameo or if that's just kind of a fuck up, but to my knowledge, she doesn't appear on Final Destination 3.
Okay. What was I right about Road Trip? Is that a different girl, like I was saying?
I think it's a different girl. But on that Final Destination 3 video, we're going to cover it more in depth when we do Final Destination 3, but the DVD, there was like a little settings thing where you could choose your own death.
Yeah, I have the DVD.
I'm pretty sure that's where that credit would come from, because she's probably somewhere on there and they have to give her the credit for it.
Yeah.
I remember that. I did that. I definitely fucked around with that.
Oh, so did I, and the movie's done in 5 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. And it gives you, it'll actually give you an answer as to what happens to the two main characters on Final Destination 2 that we'll talk more when we cover that movie.
Yeah.
There's very few Final Destination movies where the premonition people make it out alive.
Yep.
A lot of the times they are paired up with like their significant other.
Well, look at the second one. This is what happened to Alex, and she's got the.
It's a fucking brick. Like I mentioned with that brick being out of place. That's because apparently between the first movie and the second movie, Alex gets killed by a brick gone rogue, and like him and Clear, have done everything physically possible to go out of their way to like protect themselves from death's elements, but he gets killed by a stray brick.
Yeah. Okay.
Ali Larder is actually the only character to be featured in two Final aside from Tony Todd, of course, but yeah.
She dies in the second one.
Yep. The next time we see her, she's in a padded room. She put herself there. So would I.
She's in there. Voluntarily. Yeah. And it's,
who would you say would be your favorite death?
Out of the first one or the whole franchise? Oh,
we'll do the whole franchise after we're done discussing all of the movies, just to recap everything.
That's cool. The first one, probably Billy's death.
The unexpectedness.
Just because, like, obviously Terry's is unexpected too, but
that's true.
but like just I think it's, you know what I mean, how the
You
just
could walk off a
breaking,
curb and get smoked by a bus very naturally, whereas getting killed by
yeah,
flinging shrapnel from a
yeah,
train
and how it just
decapitates you.
right, and how it just cuts him by the mouth when
That's
he's,
pretty
you
fucked
know,
up.
because he's yelling at Carter, and as he's yelling, it,
Yep,
because his mouth is open because he's yelling, and it cuts right here, and it's got his
absolutely.
whole chin, his whole bottom jaw. I was like, man, that is so
For
cool. Like
2000s, yeah,
creative,
that's
creative
something.
kills. That's these movies are like slashers. Let's
Yep.
see how creative, who can die in the most creative way possible. But
Yep.
this movie and the second one both do such a good job at it because
Of
they
keeping it
have,
realistic.
and they have good actors. Like a lot
Yes,
of the
they do.
movies, a lot of the horror movies, the slasher movies, you're waiting for the characters to die. That's what a slasher is. A lot of the
Yes.
dialogue between the slasher, like the characters, you're like, this guy's an idiot. I can't wait to
And
see how creative he dies. But this movie, you don't want anyone to die.
like you were mentioning about the third one, I feel like that's what it is. I don't really care about the characters.
No, that's
Like I care about Wendy and I care about
the other guy,
Kevin. Kevin. I'm
I
pretty
think
sure
his
it's
name's
actually
Kevin.
Kevin.
Yeah, but
I care about them too, but that's
and
as far as
that's
it
it.
goes.
And then there's Frankie.
Bye.
Frankie's just the fucking. He graduated
Exactly.
like 4 years ago, and he's just following these two chicks around. Like
I
you said,
remember being in high school. We graduated together. I went into a tanning bed. I went and bought 10 tans for prom because obviously I'm pretty pale here. So
I
tried
see
getting,
you. Where'd you go?
you know, blending in with my bed. So I tried getting a little color on just so I popped out a little bit more in my dress. I sat there in that tanning bed, tried listening to music, and like the lights flicker, eh? Because like it's obviously all LED lighting.
Yeah.
Fucking shit in my pants the whole time. Like fuck, Final Destination 3 is gonna happen. Like
Really?
I think I made 2 tans. I'm pretty sure the first time I went, I almost fucking died. The second time, I'm like, I can't do this, and I sold. I'm pretty sure I gave my tans to like Jessie Lynn or something because I'm like,
really?
I can't.
Yeah. Just mentally fucking tortured you. Yeah.
I couldn't go back from that, and it wasn't the same room, obviously, but this would have been in the late 2000s, so tanning beds were still a thing, and like they had that little ghetto blaster on.
Yeah.
You know, that little boom box with a bunch of CDs that you can put in it, and it was just giving me too many similar vibes. I was probably an idiot that brought a fucking wet slushie into the room too after it probably had a big sign on saying don't bring beverages, you know. But yeah, it was just not for me, and it's because of this movie. Log trucks, Final Destination 2.
Yeah.
Nope. And we're in Sudbury, a logging fucking town, and you see these log trucks everywhere.
I get out of behind a log truck as soon as they're in front of me. I find any way possible to get right out from behind them. It's like, oh, you know, like
exactly.
The third one, I had a little bit of like I was going on roller coasters, but I was still had that thing in my head, like, oh my god, if this thing fucking.
If any of you fuckers have a camera on this thing that ends up getting stuck on the track, like, I'm coming back to haunt you.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, exactly.
This is obviously, and I'm just going to touch briefly on this, like, 9/11. This wouldn't have happened if this movie would have been after 9/11. Obviously, because of the whole plane scenario, right?
Yeah.
The only reason why it was able to happen in number 5 is because they were connecting it to the first one. I'm pretty sure that gets brought up a lot too, is them saying like this would have never been a thing if it was 9/11 because that would have hit too close.
That's yeah, exactly. Yeah. When was when was
September 11th, 2001.
2001. Okay.
This movie, it's 2000s. I'm not too sure what date this movie was actually.
I'm actually glad you mentioned that because I didn't even think
March
about
17th, 2000. So like it was less than a year before. So and movies get released in theaters, and back then I want to say it probably took about 6 months to get it onto DVD, if not longer.
If not longer, yeah.
So I feel like it
was probably on DVD after that happened.
I know there was a little bit of controversy, but I think people realized very quickly, like, no affiliation, like that kind of thing.
I'm glad you brought that up because I didn't even think about that.
There's actually a lot of movies that pre 9/11 either edited their stuff when it was in New York.
Yeah.
Armageddon is one of my favorite movies, and I'm pretty sure because it's meteors hitting Earth.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to say I read something about them having a meteor striking the World Trade Center in the movie because it's either in 1998 or 1999, but they
Okay.
edited it out.
Oh, really?
I'm pretty sure there was something along that lines. It might not have even been 9/11. It might have been the day after tomorrow. I can't remember which when that
Yeah.
was released, but that would
Yeah.
have been
Yeah.
around there, and that's also in New York. All I know is people, directors, writers, they were very delicate with
Yes.
things around and after 9/11
Yeah,
because
with the
obviously
planes and stuff. Yeah, of
it
course. It
changed a
makes.
lot more than just airplane world. It changed a lot of
Yeah.
things.
No, it's a
It was a
touchy
big
subject
staple in
now.
our history,
Exactly.
and unfortunately for you and I, it's one of the major history events that we were alive for.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
and God knows what all of our ancestors and everyone went through before that. This changed the world. Imagine what everyone else went through.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
aside from that, I do think that did affect this movie a little bit.
Oh, probably guaranteed it did. Like when people
Yeah.
seen that, uh, some people might have walked out of the movie.
It wasn't
Or
intentional.
not walked out of, yeah, not walked out of the movie, but I'm sure a lot of people watched it when they did, and they're like, "Oh my god, as if they just released this like this."
Well,
And
100%. And with it being a year before 9/11, like I'm sure it was at Blockbuster or Movie Gallery for us
yeah,
Biancos.
yeah,
Around
yeah,
that
yeah,
time, you're trying to have a family night or something with your family. Oh, Final Destination, pop it in, and now you're like, oh my God, this is a little bit too close to what's happening right now.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
kids
yeah,
are asking questions, like
yeah.
yeah. So
No,
that did get affected, unfortunately, from what I read up.
yeah.
Um, Another thing that I feel like you would kind of appreciate and may or may not have noticed, Clear's cabin is the cabin from Lake Placid.
What?
That's what
Really?
it says in the credits. Yeah,
Are
that
you
is
serious? No way.
apparently.
Oh, that's cool, man. I like
I
that.
tried kind of like comparing, but every time that we actually see Clear's cabin, it's very poor lit,
Yeah.
or like it
It's
doesn't really
dark. It's
focus
in the
on,
rain. Yeah, it's in thunderstorm or
or
whatever.
you
Yeah.
have electric cords slapping you in the face while you're trying to, look around.
Yeah.
Um, would you have gotten off the plane with Alex?
Would I have? Would have
Yeah.
I? Uh, that's a good question. Glad you asked me that. Um, I do believe in stuff like that, fate and premonitions and uh,
You're 17 years old in high
yeah.
school. We're at Chemmy High. We're going to Paris.
Honestly, probably not.
I would have.
I'm probably I'm straight like I'm 17 years old. I'm
Yep,
going to Paris. This guy's freaking out.
absolutely.
I probably would have thought about it for a few minutes first, but I don't think I would have got off because I would
Hmm.
have just. I'm 17 years old. I'm like,
That
who
guy's
is
just
this?
going through.
Who is this?
Exactly.
Like I'm 17. Like
Yep,
if you would have asked me now, and if we visit that when we're 29 years old, definitely 100%.
I would have always
But
gotten off. I would have never even gotten on that fucking plane.
well, you don't like flying.
I don't know if you remember this, but when we were in like grade 10, we had the opportunity to go to Egypt with Chemmy High.
Oh, really? No, I don't
My
remember
parents paid the deposit. It's not that I didn't want to go or I did want to go. I acknowledged that it was a great opportunity.
that.
And I agreed with my parents. Yeah, I'll go. It was actually me and Kyle Bushy that were supposed to go together.
Yeah. Okay.
My parents signed the paperwork, paid the deposit. I was like, what the fuck did I get myself into? I was not happy. I was like shitting myself with tape.
Yeah,
I couldn't sleep at night.
yeah.
Well, there ended up being some kind of controversy that took place in Egypt, and our trip was canceled.
Oh,
It
wow.
didn't end up going. What a shame. But yeah, that
Yeah.
would have been the first opportunity I would have went on an airplane
No shit. And you
to
just now
Egypt.
and your airplane fear, is that just because of this movie, or is that naturally in total you just
It's natural. I will second guess everything. I'm a klutz. I'm clumsy. I'm the kind of
Okay.
person where I'm very superstitious.
Yeah.
Um, it's kind of weird the shit that happens. For example, me and Jeff will be driving and I'll look at him and I'll be like, "There's a cop up there.
Yeah.
There's always a cop up there."
Yeah.
Um,
Every time you notice that,
it's
there's
happened where I'm like humming a song or singing a song in the truck off of my iPhone, like off Spotify.
yeah.
We walk in the store and like the exact spot that I left off at is playing in the store. Like
Wow,
there's
that's pretty
it's
interesting.
trippy. Like Jeff bought me tarot cards and I'm like, we're not getting into this, buddy. Like
Jesus,
next thing
yeah.
you know, he's gonna be pulling in a Ouija board and I'm just no, you're never gonna see me again. Um,
I'm gonna invest and I want to get one of those because I'd actually like to turn off my lights, light a few candles, and me and the wife kind of do the Ouija board thing. I'm actually very intrigued into that stuff. I'm one
fuck
of those. I'm one
that.
of those guys.
Oh,
I'm one of those guys that if someone told me that that house was haunted, I would actually go in there and check that shit out. That's the kind of person I am. I want to
I'll be waiting for you
experience.
in the car. That's me. I'm here for you, but I'll be in the car. Like I won't leave without you. Like
Yeah, no, I want to experience actually this is off subject, but it is about experience something. So I'm going to tell you a story. Um
oh god.
only one of my friends and a couple and the wife's parents know about this. So me and Rox were driving home one night. I can't remember where we were driving, and I'm not shitting you. It was late at night and we were driving. I think we were coming back from her parents or something, and it was late at night. And I'm not even shitting you. We searched it up and we seen a skinwalker run in front of our vehicle, and as it ran by it smelt like decaying body, and it was so fast it almost like it teleported. And I'm not even shitting you because Rocks can fucking back me up. We stopped the vehicle and we both looked at each other and we kind of just paused for like 5 minutes and we're like, what the hell did we just see? And I researched it and that's what it was. It was walking backwards on its hot, like it was it was like it's like a person is like they got their arms back like this and they got their stomach up like this and they're walking on four legs. They got their
Why are
legs
you
and
doing this to me?
I'm not. I'm just. We're speaking about stuff like this, and
That's fucking trippy.
it just made me think of it. I'm not even shitting you. I searched it up. Me and her searched it up, and that's what it was. And we were stunned for like 3 days. We're like, "There's no way that was a skinwalker. It's some kind of native spirit But I'm not even shitting you. We seen it, and you know where we seen it? 5 minutes down the road from my house.
Oh, fantastic! I thought you were gonna stay right in front of my fucking house or something. You can keep it in your neck of the woods.
I'm not even shitting you. Like whoever's listening to this might think I'm full of shit. I don't give a shit because I seen it and the wife
Okay.
seen it.
Well, we have a similar story, but it's not like as identified as yours. We were at KBP going fishing. It was Friday the 13th, and it was me, Ryan, Jeffrey, and Bobby, Ryan being Jeff's brother.
Yeah.
So we all walked out to our little spot that we were fishing at, and Ryan forgot the fishing tackle in the car. So he went to the car, locked the keys in the car, whatever.
Yeah.
We stayed and fished a little because what the fuck are we going to do, you know?
Yep.
So then we were done fishing. So we went to the car. The boys ended up like holding the door panel open while I grabbed a stick and tried we got it eventually. But moral of the story is you see how much we were fucking around at that time.
Yep.
We didn't see anyone drive past us. And even where we were fishing, we could still see the road. So no one had gone in and no one had gone out unless people were there before us.
Yeah.
So we go to leave. We're driving. Jeff's doing under the speed limit, but probably a lot quicker than he should be doing down a logging road because it's all gravel, you know, there's turns.
Slide. You can slide.
Exactly. We're in a little freaking Toyota Corolla.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, he bottoms out on 4 big fucking boulders that were obviously placed on the road.
Really?
So Jeff and Bobby, they get out. They're like, what the fuck was that? Who did this to the car? Like, me and Ryan are kind of like, Ryan's like, don't know what's happening. And I'm
Yeah.
like, holy fuck, it's Friday the 13th. So
Yep.
I get out with Ryan and we go look, and someone wrote stop in the gravel with an arrow pointing towards the woods.
Really? What the
Yeah.
fuck?
So Jeff and Bobby were like, let's go fucking see, blah, 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 blah. I'm
Yeah.
like, it's Friday the fucking 13th, guys.
Yeah.
We ain't fucking around. We
Yeah.
got out of there. But they would have actually went and seen, and I'm kind of wish that we
Really,
would
eh?
have went,
That's
but it's
weird.
fucked up. No
That's
one went in, no
weird.
one went out. It bought, like, we could have damaged like the fucking engine cradle or frame on our car probably.
Yeah, that's
Like
so
he hit it
weird, eh?
hard. We would have
That-
damaged it if he would have hit it any other way, like fucking breakdown damage.
Yeah.
I know. It's very eerie. It's
Yeah,
very
that's
eerie.
that's really weird actually. That is
And I hope
actually
it wasn't anyone in trouble that was trying to say like, but like help or like stay at the roadway and make it look like you need help would have probably been sufficient.
That's actually a pretty creepy story though. It's not
Yep.
like mine, but it's still creepy. The fact that you know what I
Yours
mean,
is
like,
pretty fucking trippy. Mine's creepy.
I'm not even kidding you. That is the fact. Like,
Jeff has a picture of Bigfoot.
Does he really?
He does.
Really?
I personally don't believe him because his backup is Chris Mainville.
Well, have
But
you seen the picture?
no, it's on his old phone that he lost.
Oh.
And he said it was lost because he had a picture of Bigfoot.
Really?
Yeah, I don't bring it up because I'm tired of hearing it. But yeah, he will swear
he had a
on.
picture on his old phone and he lost his phone.
He
No
swears
shit.
on like his family, even my life, that he had this picture, and he's a pretty genuine man. So like,
Yeah, well, you know what? I think like
he'd have to listen to an hour and 36 of this podcast minutes for me to say that he actually is probably right. But I know that he'll never hear me say this, so I will say that he's probably right about it.
Honestly, I don't see. You know, I don't know Jeff very well, but I don't see him making something up like that. He's not that kind of person. You know, and the fact
he likes
that, like,
his conspiracies, but the conspiracies that he's into, he has shit to back up his shit up with. I'll give him that.
The fact that he says that, you know, like I said, if someone is so sincere, it's like what I said about the Skinwalker. If someone is so sincere about, you can tell. It's like
you know your horror movies. You know what things look like, creatures of the horror genre. He knows the bush like the back of his hand, so he knows what a bear is. He knows what a wolf is.
Yeah, he knows the difference between a Bigfoot and a bear. That's crazy, though. As if he got a picture. That's unbelievable, man.
And it was one of those shitty quality fucking flip phones, right?
Yeah.
So could you even make it out?
Yeah, no shit, eh? Wow, that's
he's
crazy.
He's convinced, like, and he's not a bullshitter. Like, people are probably like, that's just your husband there, but like, he is part of the reason why I'm with him is because he's a very genuine soul.
Yeah, honest person. Yeah, exactly.
He's a very honest person.
That's the
I
way,
wouldn't be able to bullshit someone for the life of me, and that's why, like, some people think I'm arrogant, some people think I'm a bitch, but like, it's just, if it comes here, it comes out here. I have nothing to hide, no shame, you know?
Yeah.
Only the real OGs know how big my heart is, and I know that could be the same with you.
Yep.
But yeah, Final Destination, the franchise, definitely part of the reason why I second guess every move I make.
Yeah.
It probably definitely is a big portion as to why I don't go on airplanes.
Oh,
another reason why I don't go on airplanes could be because I was a part. We watched 9/11 unfold.
Yeah.
I love history.
I was gonna say, you know, I used to be actually, I used to be afraid of taking planes myself.
Would you say afraid or skeptical? Jeff is skeptical. I'm afraid.
Probably, like, when I was younger, I always thought, because of 9/11, Final Destination, not because of but when 9/11 happened, I used to, when I was younger, because we were young, I used to always think, you know, that
we were in grade 1 or 2, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it would have been, you said what, 2005 or what?
2001.
Or, oh, sorry, 2001.
In September 2001, so I think we actually would have been in grade 2. We probably would have just begun grade 2.
I remember being afraid of, well, not being, I was so young. You can't say skeptical, more or less afraid, because you're that young. I was afraid of, because it was a terrorist attack that
Yep.
hijacked the plane, and I was afraid of getting hijacked on a plane, so I avoided
Yep.
planes my whole life until, honestly, just recently, the last
For
3
work.
years was when the first time I've ever got on a plane. Yeah, the first time was like 3 years ago.
I just remember the setting, the fact that everyone was scared. Like, I've never really seen my parents too vulnerable, but I
Yeah,
remember them just get away from the TV, leave it on this channel, and don't change it.
yeah,
And like
yeah,
I
yeah,
was in my parents' room watching their TV because they were trying to keep me away from everything that was happening on the news. And I
yep,
remember just kind of peeking over and just kind of watching their screen, and like you were seeing everything unfold. And even though I was 6 or 7 years old, like I remember where I was. I remember the feeling.
yeah, yeah,
It's early 2000s. It was a very unfortunate time. At first it was a celebration because it was a new century. It's the
yeah,
2000s.
yeah.
We
Now
got
it's,
out of Y2K, the world didn't
yes,
end. But then
yes.
within a year's time, we ended up with, if I'm not mistaken, the worst terrorist attack on US soil.
Yeah, yeah, one of the worst terror, yeah, probably the worst in,
Yep.
yeah, in North America, guarantee, probably, yeah,
And
for
we're
sure.
Canadian and we're still reeling from the aftermath,
Yeah,
let
yeah,
alone, and it's how many years, you know?
yeah.
Um, so I
20,
think just maybe
tw-
growing up in that timeline is maybe the reason why I just don't want to be on an airplane.
yeah, makes
I
sense.
know a lot of people who did grow up in the same age of generation as we did are totally comfortable on airplanes.
Yeah,
I have anxiety, and that's why I think I like Final Destination, because like that's my horror movie.
yeah,
I
yeah.
have anxiety, so I can relate to all of these little scapegoats and fake outs and just like having a nail gun just fucking deploy and shoot you in the face. Like I'm looking at that nail gun across the room like, are you gonna fucking like,
Yeah,
is your safety on? Like,
yeah, yeah. I better go check that gun, make sure it's not loaded, make
you
sure the
know what I
safety's
mean?
on. Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
it's just that kind of shit. Like
Yep.
looking the across the road because you don't want to get hit by a bus like Terry did. Like it's just, I think that that's why this franchise, let alone this movie, just appeals to me so much, is just because that's what scares the shit out of me.
Yeah,
It's not Jason, it's not Freddy, it's literally all these objects that
yeah.
could end your
That's
life.
that's the thing. Like you said, it's the fact of a presence that you can't see can take
Yep.
control of any object around you is more terrifying than a guy
Yep.
running around with a mask any day, because you can see him. You can't
Exactly.
see death. And let's say there's a an fucking, I don't know, a thumbtack on the ground.
Yep.
Or it's, let's say it's on the table, and then you got the window open. Okay,
Yep.
well, the wind's gonna blow it on the ground. You're gonna step on it, then you're gonna fall down the
Exactly.
stairs. Like that's, yeah.
Exactly.
I
You don't
see
want to
someone.
get killed by Jason? Stay away from Camp Crystal Lake on Friday the
That
13th. You don't want to
exactly,
get killed by Michael? Stay out of Haddonfield. You
exactly.
don't want to get killed by Ghostface? I can't really help you there because any of your friends might be a fucking deranged serial killer,
Yeah,
but
any of your close
be
friends.
aware of your surroundings and trust nobody. Follow the rules.
Yeah,
Um,
but Final Destination, you can't avoid that.
you
You
cheat death, it's
honestly,
gonna come for you.
yeah, you honestly can't avoid that. That's why it's like it's like
Yep.
there was nothing like it when it came out. There was nothing
No,
like it, and it was a big impact when it came out.
it's like a
Uh,
terminal sickness. Once it's after you,
that's, you're done. It's
you're
like
done.
cancer. Like it's, yeah.
Exactly, exactly. And I
I
think that's why it was just so, it just resonates with me, like it stays with me.
Yeah, no, for sure. I was reading something. So, here are some facts about Final Destination's origin story, creepy coincidences, and trivia about the whole Final Destination
I have
universe.
the same thing written down, so you may as well go ahead. I
Oh,
know
do you?
exactly what you're about to say.
Yeah.
I know, a television show.
I don't. Well, I haven't read completely into it yet.
Okay, okay.
I actually just kind of did a quick 5 minute thing. So,
I think I
Reddit
know where you're going with this. Yeah, go ahead.
Reddick was inspired to write the script after reading a story in the newspaper about a woman who changed flights after receiving a call from her mother, in which her mother said she had a bad feeling about the plane. The flight the woman was supposed to be on crashed. Um, The X-Files spec script Reddick wrote was titled Flight 180 and followed Mulder and Scully as they investigated a mysterious incident in which a group of students from McKinley High School on a class trip to Paris got off a flight shortly before it took off and exploded, killing everyone on board. The surviving students and teachers are then quickly killed in a series of bizarre accidents, and the FBI becomes involved. Devon Sawa, the main character in the original, was the last person to be casted. He first read the script. He first read the script on a plane and became paranoid, glancing out the window to check on the plane's engine while he read. James Wan and Glenn Morgan weren't sure about casting Sawa until they watched Idle Hands and loved his performance. I love Idle Hands. One of the biggest reveals in the Devon Sawa and Ali Larter's characters are romantically involved and have a child, which Claire names Alex. These scenes were deleted from the movie's theatrical version.
Yes, I remember seeing that as well. Do you think they maybe thought that Alex was too childlike because of Casper? Because I'm trying to think of like his highly like credited movies before that, and like you said, Idle Hands. But I have a feeling that they didn't watch Idle Hands until right when they made that decision.
Yeah, well, like
you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's sort of, yeah. You could be right. You could be right.
Because I know a lot of roles will, like, a lot of the times people don't get roles because, like, Harry Potter, Daniel Radcliffe. Unfortunately for him, I've read that he's known as Harry Potter. So, like, that's taken a lot of opportunities away from him because he plays such a prominent character. And that's what he'll always be recognized by. Chubby Chase in the Vacation movies, for example, like he's always going to be the dad from National Lampoon's Vacation. Like I feel like people, Stifler, we just said it. He'll always be Stifler because that's a prominent character he plays. Like no one will probably play it like him. Do you think that's maybe what was going on with Devon? Again, Devon Sawa?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I think you're right. It could be.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so. I think I can agree with you for sure.
Where I thought you were going was this story was originally going to be a concept for an episode of X-Files, which was
on here.
Keep
going. Yeah, that's on here. Keep going.
Which was inspired by Soul Survivor in 1984. In this movie, a woman who was a sole survivor of a plane crash starts to be haunted by dead people that death uses temporarily as vessels, trying to kill her to correct its plan and killing everyone who suspected it.
Okay.
I get the vibes.
No,
I see it.
Yeah.
I see the similarities. I only have two trivia tidbits left. Most characters in this film are named after filmmakers. Did you catch that?
Yeah, well,
some of them are pretty obvious. Exactly. So Billy Hitchcock was Alfred. We got Todd Wagner as George Wagner. Alex Browning is Todd Browning. Larry Murnau is after F.W. Murnau.
Okay.
Max Schreck. So sorry guys, it isn't DreamWorks Shrek the movie. It's actually after Max Schreck, who I guess starred in some Symphony movie in 1922.
Okay.
Basically, from what I could read up, and we already mentioned Alfred Hitchcock, it's all like the OGs, like the 1920s, 1930s, 40s, like those. They're kind of tipping their hat off to like the older generation of directors or actors.
Yeah.
So, could you see anyone else playing Alex and Claire by chance? Sorry.
No.
What about
Sorry, go ahead.
What about Tobey Maguire and Kirsten Dunst? Because that's who originally were the choices to play Alex.
Are you serious?
Who, ironically, both would later star in Sam Raimi's Spider-Man trilogy.
That's interesting. You know what? Honestly, it's hard to say.
Because we grew up with it. To us, it'll always be them.
It's hard to say. Yeah, it's hard to say, okay, if you go back and change the characters. I mean, it might have worked. I don't think Kirsten Dunst is that kind of character that Claire plays.
Because
she's very quiet. Very bubbly,
like very girl next door. Like, but you know what? I could say the same thing about Alicia Cuthbert. and then she goes and becomes a great girl next door. She's great in House of Wax. She's
Yeah.
great. She really
Yeah, that's
surprised
true.
me.
Yeah.
I can
Yeah.
say the same thing about Sophia Bush because I grew up watching One Tree Hill. Like I loved her as Brooke Davis in One Tree Hill. I would have never thought she'd be the bad bitch she is in the Hitchhiker movie because she plays the main girl.
Which one, sorry?
Sophia Bush
Oh,
for
yes.
The Hitcher.
Yes.
Because I was a One Tree Hill girl. I watched her when we were in high school on One Tree Hill. She's in
Yeah.
one of those little teeny bop shows.
Yep.
I could say the same thing about Seth Cohen from the OC. That's Adam Brody, who plays a cop in Scream. He plays in Ready or Not.
Yeah, no, you're right.
He's
Anyone
the
who, yeah.
creepy band guy in Jennifer's Body, the one who unfortunately takes advantage of her and sets
Yeah,
that in.
yeah.
You know, like, I guess people, sometimes you think people are one-trick ponies, but then they get the chance. And I think that's the big thing, is if someone gets the chance to veer off of their comfort zone.
They kill it. They kill it.
They kill it, exactly.
I'm trying to think of a couple others.
For me, it's Scarface. I haven't watched Scarface.
Really?
But I know, yeah.
That's really upsetting.
I'm saving it for you, partner. I'm saving it for you. Hey, I'm getting into The Sopranos.
You just broke my heart, but
I'm getting into it.
Yeah, you put it back together because you said you're waiting.
But think about it. In May for your birthday, when you do Scarface, I'm gonna be fresh. I'm gonna be. Yeah. You're getting my first Scarface. I get to share that with you.
Yeah,
this is me trying to butter you up.
Oh.
But Michelle Pfeiffer, I'm a Grease lover. She's the main character on Grease too. She kind of plays the Sandy like character.
Yep.
I know going into Scarface, I'm gonna be like, oh, she is different than what I know her as.
Yeah.
But I know I'm gonna love it. I'm gonna revel in it because I know she does amazing in it.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
I'm trying to think of a couple other actors that have gone out of there. Oh, look at Jim Carrey, the number 23.
Yep, 100%.
The Butterfly Effect with Ashton Kutcher.
Ashton Kutcher. Did you ever watch Rain on Me by Adam Sandler?
No, I haven't.
He plays a serious role. I know he's played more serious roles recently with Netflix, but as far as I'm concerned with Rain on Me, it might be Rain Over Me. Don Cheadle. It's Rain Over Me.
Yeah.
I saw it in theaters with my parents, and we didn't watch previews. We just knew it was Adam Sandler's new movie, so they took me to it thinking it was going to be goofy.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it was this emotional fucking masterpiece where he plays this grieving father, and it's beautiful. And like, I think that's why I love everything Adam Sandler, even the ones that are not really reputable.
Good. Yeah.
Because he wowed me. Like,
yeah.
I was taken back. I also remember fondly choking on a piece of popcorn in the theater, and I thought I was going to lose my life when I was watching that movie. I'm trying to think of another example, though.
No, there are actors out there that go out of their comfort zone and they do amazing jobs. There's also Eliza Dushku. She's the main chick.
Bring It On.
Yeah, Bring It On, and she's in Wrong Turn.
Absolutely.
She's also in Soul Survivor. She's in a couple others, but she's also in.
Which is kind of funny because Bring It On is her and Kirsten Dunst.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
We're still in the same theme.
Yeah.
The other lead, Seth Green, right? In Idle Hands, he's a jokester. He's the guy behind Robot Chicken. He's fucking Chris on Family Guy.
Yeah.
You know?
Idle Hands is something you have to visit for me. That's a fucking classic. Sure. That is so
all
fun.
The actors, like I really enjoy the majority of the actors that I've seen are affiliated with this movie, so I feel like it would probably be a decent ride for me.
It's a horror, but it's a goofy,
I can't believe we never
horror.
Said not Jessica Alba, but we're going to be talking about her a lot next week. And she was in Seventh Heaven. And then she was all of a sudden in Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake. Like, and it's night and day.
Yeah. She does awesome in that movie, but we're gonna
not my favorite final girl, but she still deserves an honorable mention. She wouldn't be considered a shitty one. She would be in the honorable mention category.
Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, the character that they had her write. We'll talk about this in this movie in the next episode, but she does a lot of stupid decisions.
Yes.
A lot of cliche Like,
Yes.
no, you know what I mean? Oh, of course you're gonna do that. Oh, of course you're gonna do, like
Yep.
just cliche, stupid, but whatever. I mean,
Like obvious.
she's running around in a tank top, in a white tank top, and a
And you're
cowboy
sitting here
hat.
like, don't open the door, don't open the door, don't open the door. She opens the door. Don't do it, don't do it, don't do
Yeah,
it. She does it.
yeah,
Like
exactly. You're like,
that kind of
okay,
shit.
but whatever.
Whatever.
It's
Exactly.
still, yeah, it's
Watchable.
still,
It still holds its value.
especially
Um,
the ending when she runs
I
over the
feel like
cop.
we have one great example of a diverse actor, and like I just can't. Like I feel like there's the obvious one that we haven't mentioned, and I don't know why I can't get it off of my tongue.
Oh, you don't even know who it is. You know
Mm-mm.
that.
Oh, it's driving me crazy. I was gonna say Kevin Ziegler, but like I feel like that's a grow up thing. Like
Kevin Zach, yeah, he's
I
in, but
need to get over him being fucking. I
Airbud.
think it's Eric and Airbud. It might not be Eric, but he's
It
the
is
boy in
Eric.
Eric.
Yeah, it is
Oh my
Eric.
god!
And he's in he's in Wrong Turn.
I'll
I just
never forgive him for telling that dog that he doesn't want him anymore and to get the fuck out of here. But like,
the basketball one with the
yes,
pudding.
yes, I give my dogs vanilla pudding because of Airbud. I hope
Oh,
everyone knows that.
yeah.
Um,
How's that
Justice,
collar? You like that collar, eh? I sent
I
you.
love that collar.
Meathead. It's
Absolutely.
amazing, eh? Oh,
Um, yeah, but we'll talk about their diverse relationship, but like the redhead from Wrong Turn, Kevin Zegler, are they married because they're in everything together?
yeah. You were
Um,
saying that.
yeah,
You said what other movie are they in together?
Dawn of the Dead remake.
Yeah, Dawn of the
Uh,
Dead remake, Wrong Turn. They might be married together.
there's
Um,
something else they're into. She's in
um,
Cry Wolf. She's Dodger
yeah.
in
Oh,
Cry
yeah. She's
Wolf.
in Cry Wolf. Yeah, yeah. I'm like I said, I'm watching that movie as soon as I get off this episode because I've wanted to watch that for a while. That is, we're gonna talk about that one because
Yeah,
of
I really enjoyed that one. I like that one.
the nostalgia. It came out in 2005, so we were like
MSN. It's very MSN esque, or
yeah,
maybe
we were like 11.
AIM or whatever.
We were like 12 or something when it came out. It was
I
we were in
remember the
like
library scene with the lights.
yeah,
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 that's a pretty good one. In our next lineup, we will be talking about Final Destination 2 because that was one of the ones I picked
yeah,
primarily. I couldn't do the second one without doing the first one because the first one kind of paints the franchise what it's going to be.
yeah,
The second one secures it, and
yeah.
then the third one continues it. The fourth one,
Falls
and
right
then the
off.
fifth one ends up being.
You can't. The thing that they did wrong with the fourth one is I think what they did. Well, first they got rid of the practical effects. You don't
There's
have
no Tony Todd,
there's
first of
no
all.
yeah there's no Tony Todd at all whatsoever, and you can't make like even My Bloody Valentine 3D the remake.
Mhm.
It wasn't bad, but
It
making
wasn't the
movies
best.
no making movies 3D like
I watched My Bloody Valentine remake for the actors because I'm a big Jared Pacioretty.
yeah
You'd think
Supernatural.
yeah, exactly. You'd think I know how to pronounce his name like smoothly, but I'm a big fan of him. That's why I like the Friday the 13th remake. But yeah,
Yeah,
a lot of the times, like if the movies have good actors or actors I'm really into,
you're gonna
shitty storyline aside, I'm suckered in. I think that's why Stay Alive really gets me because again,
yeah.
it's a Sophia Bush specialty. You
That's
got Malcolm from Malcolm
yeah.
in the Middle, like
I
Frankie
know
Muniz.
we've talked about that one before. I don't know why we've already discussed it before, but
The Haters.
yeah, and it's a creepy movie. It is creepy, and there's nothing else like it. I think it's a
Yeah.
decent movie. It's an underrated gem.
Well,
It's underrated. I'll give it a
I
7.
can't.
I'll give it a 7 out of 10. Just
I can't
because
think of the guy's name off the top of my head, but the manager who's like doing coke off the mirror. That's Adam. Is it Goldberg? Like I don't know if his name's actually Adam Goldberg. I know
I
he's
know
in.
I know which
You
guy
know who
you're
I'm talking about? He's in Saving Private Ryan. He's in a bunch of stuff. But I find the cast is fucking amazing. Even Phineas, the guy, I can't remember his actor's name off the top of my head. I know his name's Jimmy in real
Yeah,
life, the actor
yeah.
who plays him. He's a phenomenal actor.
No,
Even
the cast is good. Like I don't
yeah,
understand why a lot of people hate it. It's
I'm a gamer, so call me biased, so maybe that's why I enjoy. And it was totally
yeah.
PlayStation like affiliated, and I was a PlayStation girl, so maybe that's why
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
liked
well
it.
that could be. I remember growing up with that one too. I was in high school when I
I
watched
loved it.
that one. Yeah, I was
Yeah,
like 15 or something, I think was when it
me and
came out.
Morgan got obsessed with that one. We went through the whole Elizabeth Bathory freaking rabbit hole because it's the villain's actually
Yeah.
like an old wives' tale villain, like she bathed in the blood of virgins, like that kind of shit.
Okay.
Yeah, but I don't know, watching these kind of movies at a young age kind of, I don't want to say got me like interested in like
Yeah.
serial killers, but it got me interested in true crime. My juvenile love for these movies ended up bringing me into like true crime in my mature years.
Yep, yep. Yep.
So I think maybe that's why horror movies are still a big thing to me too, because even though like I can now understand that they're not real, they might have scared me as a little girl, they
Yeah.
still hold that value because a lot of the times, it's not that they're based on a true story, but sometimes it does have elements that can be compared to something that happened in real life.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Whether there's actual factual proof of these things happening,
Yeah.
it still references something that might have happened, you know? Like I don't know why. Um yeah, it's just something that's always appealed to me. And Final Destination, like I've already said, it was just the lingering like, is that moose fucking picture gonna fall on me in the middle of the
Yeah.
night and decapitate me?
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm laying in bed at night eating and I'm watching my ceiling fan like, is that thing gonna fucking fly off and fucking land
Yeah.
on me? I'm pretty sure that's because of this movie.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh fuck. Yeah.
But yeah, I know we veered off towards the end, but I think we did a mighty fine job of
This this
keeping the review.
this was a good episode.
This
I
is our
wanna
first one where we tried keeping.
I wanna try and keep them like this. You know, an hour
Yep,
recap. An hour was perfect. You did an hour recap. That's perfect. Make sure it's about an hour, roughly 45 minutes to an hour, and then
yep,
we spend an hour just back and forth, you and me shooting the shit,
yep.
staying related to the movie aspect. You know, we
Absolutely.
talked about 9/11, but
I know we got a little
that's a plane.
historical.
But
I
that's a
Yes,
plane. You know,
right
that's
after this movie took place. That right after this movie was exposed to the world.
yeah.
Unfortunately, the world was exposed to something else,
Yeah,
and
yeah, exactly.
20 some years later, it's still not the same.
Yeah, no,
So that's why
exactly.
I know it did get a little political and historical, but
It's
it
still related.
it kind of is.
It's still related. It's planes, right? It's still related. So
It's the fear. It's what being in the air and you're not controlling. Like
you can't
there's
control.
no way
Yeah,
out.
you can't
Um,
control. Whatever's gonna happen is gonna happen. And if you're 100,000 feet in the
yep.
air, like
Another fun little plane tidbit to talk about before we leave today is me and Sean stumbled on this new movie trailer that's going to get released, and it's a plane that crashes into the ocean and gets harassed by
yeah,
sharks.
yeah, that looks
So
really good. And you and me are gonna go see it together.
totally, obviously it's right up my Jaws alley.
It's
It
kind of a
does
combination of it's a combination of Final Destination and Jaws, and it's
with a
never been.
lot of Into the Blue elements,
Yeah,
might I add. I get lots of Into the Blue vibes.
it's never been done before, so I think it's going to be good if they did it right.
Yep,
I think it'll be good because it's never been done before.
I agree. I think it's going to be. I don't think I recognized any prominent actors, but
No,
that doesn't mean anything because I actually just rewatched Unfriended a couple of days ago, and I
oh yeah,
forgot
yeah, that's an old school one.
how
That's a
fucking
class.
crazy movie, crazy that movie was, where they're like Skyping the whole time,
Yeah, yeah, I remember that one. There's a
and
couple of them. There's Unfriended Dark Web. There's Unfriended. There's a couple
oh my god, I didn't
sequels.
even realize that. Okay, so I did the first one, and I couldn't recognize anyone, but like I was still into it, and I
Yeah,
watched it before, but I guess I didn't absorb it that much. I might not have been paying attention the first time I watched it, but I was like really into it. And it's literally like a screenshot being like played in front of you, like it's someone on her computer
yeah,
the whole time, really.
yeah.
It was kind of cool. I think we're gonna end up doing that in the late future because that was kind of a different one.
No, it was. It made another. It was another impact story, scary story because of
Yep.
the Skype aspect. You know, like
Why
when
won't this guy get out of our party? Who is he? Is
yeah,
someone getting hacked? It's one of you
yeah, and
guys. And then
it's so easy to make a horror
people are
movie.
drinking
Yeah,
bleach. People are sticking their hands in fucking blenders. And
it's
people
it's
are.
it's so easy to make a horror movie a lot of the times now because it's stuff horror movies most of the time is something that can happen in real life.
How can you
And
make a horror movie that scares people when reality is scarier than any movie will ever be?
Exactly. Anything that can happen in real life, yeah, reality. Oh, well, you know what? That can happen, man.
Yep.
Like, I'm sorry, but, and it's just so scary. Like,
I don't want to say turn on the news and you'll be scared just as much as a horror movie because sometimes the news doesn't show everything. But if we really knew what was going on in our fine and dandy reality, I don't think we'd need horror movies anymore. I feel like we'd be going to horror movies for comfort, like me and you do.
yeah, exactly.
I'm full of anxiety, dripping head to toe, but one of my comfort movies is Final Destination, and that's probably why I'm like this. But it's okay. It is what it is.
Yeah. No,
Well,
this
I
is
gotta go write the recap for our next episode that we are filming in 2 days.
is it 2 days? We're doing it
Is it
Sunday
2 days
night?
or is it tomorrow? I think we're doing it Sunday, eh?
Can we do it? Do you want to do it Sunday?
I'm in.
All right.
10-4.
Okay. You have a good night, Britt. This was fun.
Alrighty, you too. Adios.
We'll be in touch.
Sounds good.
Okay, bye.
Bye.